make it 2 columns so everybody can see that.
Well, I got the wheel of names ready to rock. All right.
Okay.
We're on. It's Race Brain. It's draft day. I got a little intros. So the first guy we're going to intro knows more about natural hot springs in Colorado than he does about OCR. Jack Bauer. Hello.
Fact. But it was a good thing that I knew my stuff because I sent you and Amy to a really nice place and you had fun, right?
It was fantastic. Exactly. Like you had some qualifiers in terms of questions, and I was like, I don't know where the water is hot. And you're like, no.
No.
Not what we're talking about. Yeah. So Jack, glad that you made it here today. Also introducing the man who had the most beautiful flowing red locks, Kirk DeWint. Looking sharp today, buddy.
Rest in peace, beautiful flowing hair.
You're so good looking now. I'm having a hard time focusing.
I know. It was better when you were way uglier. Yeah.
Shucks. Well, I think you're taking care of that, Rich, because you're kind of going for the homeless look right now. So, the universe ebbs and flows, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. I'm picking up the slack. Dude, the Avalanche are in the Stanley Cup. I haven't watched a single period or even, is it a possession? Is that even what they call it in hockey? But I'm doing a playoff beard because they're in. I got to watch at least one in case they win so I can go to the parade or something.
I like it. See, I think men at some point should look as terrible as possible to ensure that their partner truly loves them. And I just got done with that, and she loves me. So I think maybe you're just doing that experiment yourself, Rich. That's what I think.
I think
that's smart.
What's the longest beard you've ever grown out, Rich? You ever grown out a real beard?
Well, it's not for lack of trying.
Okay.
It's
the
not
ability level.
It's an ability.
It'd be like Bracken trying to grow out his hair. It's just not happening.
Well, stuff would happen, just not where you'd expect you want it to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if like the straggliness would eventually like kind of come together. I don't think so. This is about a week that I got going on. So
give it a month.
Give it a month.
Yeah, give it a month. You'll know what you're working with in a month.
Yeah,
give it a month. All right, and the 100-mile hernia man, Bracken Crocker. My guy, what's up?
You were the first people I've talked to outside of my family. It's my first time out of bed. It's a big moment.
Well, you don't look as bad as I do or as bad as Kirk did with long hair, so you're doing okay.
Doing all right. You should see me try to do anything other than just sit stationary.
So I was so pumped that you pulled 100-mile week. Was that your first 100-mile week?
Yeah, my previous high was 72.
Whoa, so way above.
I've hit like 6 or 7 between 70 and 72, but this year's high was 44.
So did you almost not make it? I've been dying to ask you about this. Like, what was going to give if it was going to give, and how close did it come to giving?
I realized early on that as long as I cut out all intensity, I could do whatever number I wanted to do, probably indefinitely until something broke. Like I could have done another week for sure, as long as I kept intensity down. But on Friday, I ran a 13-mile tempo. And then on Saturday, I went out with twinning the race. He got a hookup with the new Tecton X, and we did 16 miles in the Tecton X, which it was too much carbon plate for my legs coming off a 13-mile tempo. So the next day, step 1 through the end of the run, my whole rear chain wanted to cramp. But outside of that, if I hadn't done any intensity, I probably could have done, I don't know, 150 without any real drawbacks. Because I was just running slow.
Did you do singles or doubles?
My plan was to do 10 and 5 a.m. p.m. until my body told me to change. So I did that for 3 days. Then I did a 10, and then I finished with 13, 16, 16.
Pretty
which
impressive.
Were really 13, 17, 17, but I stopped my watch twice to adjust shoes or to pee and forgot to start it. So I have a few lost miles in there.
So for those doing the math, it's about 14.25 miles a day over the course of a week.
Yeah.
Whenever I think about the 100-mile week, I have to think about the bicentennial challenge.
Yeah.
Which is 100 miles, 100 beers. So how could you break that up? I've thought about it many times, never attempted it, because it's also 14 beers a day.
Yeah, it's.
I'd probably be the expert to weigh in on this if anybody would be.
Let's hear.
Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it possible? Is it going to be the most hellish feeling 7 days of your entire life, and then most likely the most hellish 7 days following of your life? The answer is yes. because in about a week, you're going to develop a chemical addiction to alcohol and the endorphins of running. And then you're going to take it all away and you're going to want to die is what's going to happen. So I don't recommend it.
Well, I think what would be key here is to have the chemical addiction to alcohol going into it. So you're having a big base of training leading into the Bicentennial Challenge, so that like the waking up feeling bad and the running while feeling bad is kind of normal for you.
I was thinking about that a bit on one of my runs, and I realized that if first of all, if there's anyone out there who doubts the power of sleep, go run a 100-mile week. Because you suddenly realize that you go to bed thinking there is just no way. And you wake up realizing, all right, I can move again. I took 2 naps throughout the week. So sleep became huge. So if you did this, you would have to nail your sleep for the Bicentennial. And I don't think you could do a single ounce of quality work.
No. Would you try to do singles then, like 14 and a half every morning, and then just like post workout and try to get those 14 beers done?
Drunk.
Yeah, just get drunk. Try to
What
get.
I would
was easy.
What I'd recommend is 7 beers, nap, wake up, run, 7 beers, sleep, wake up, run, rinse and repeat for a week. That'd be the most sustainable.
Always run first, then drink later.
Yep, always. Yep.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing like 25 beer miles in this.
You want to just be sober and up when you hit your run.
I think that's smart. And I think you want to run last thing of the day, not drink last thing of the day.
Correct.
Just to kind of sweat it out, move it around a little bit. So you're
between this and mod, we've had some pretty good conversations recently on the show.
It made me realize I don't want to do this. Back in college, reading about it on Let's Run, I was like, I would do a Bicentennial. No.
I went down a rabbit hole today thinking about it, and apparently there's a guy in Philadelphia who I didn't know was probably right around my age who did it in 100 hours. 100 beers, 100 miles, 100 hours.
It's
a lot of drunk running.
Is he alive today?
I haven't heard of him from today. This was like 2011 or something like that.
Wow. R.I.P. Yeah.
Tough representing
Philly
town.
That's Philly tough there.
That's easy. Yeah, that makes running more fun. All right. So you mentioned mod. I don't think we should talk about mod, but did you guys get people really got fixated on the mod tests? That was what I got the most feedback on. It's like, oh, here's how you do it. And every test was completely different.
Some of them were just crap. Some were pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a favorite that came through?
I did.
Oh, you had one.
Well, it would require Jack to formulate the correct ratios of importance and whatever formulas he needs, but something to do with the workout station and then the average pace run after the workout station, but the number of reps completed in the amount of time factors into your overall score. So let's say it's 30 seconds of jump squats. Well, the reps would actually factor in hey, you get punished if you don't do a lot of reps in the 30 seconds, or you get rewarded, and it all factors into the same equation. So somehow coming up with a way where you can be rewarded, for not sandbagging the exercise stations, but also obviously still factoring in the running. Somebody proposed that, and then I figure spit that to Jack, and Jack will come up.
You could basically set a minimum qualifier, and then if you have less than that, it's like your score gets reduced by 1% for every rep you miss or something like that. I'm sure we don't have to talk about it now. We did enough mod, but that seems fair.
We're gonna have to have a second conversation. We can't. It's not.
When numbers happen. It's mod part 2.
I realize I want a people's mod and a lab mod, because I think if you could get a good lactate threshold number, then you could have someone do an exercise until you reached a certain acidity level, and then get right back to running at your threshold numbers and see how your pace changes. And you could do that off different variables. I think that'd be the cleanest way of doing it, but we still need to dial in the everyman's mod.
That's even hard to do just regular running, having the testing done. I've never had anything done like that in consistent training even. So that would be ideal. Maybe we can put together a little product for it. All right.
Portable mod system.
Yeah, we can make that happen. But we'll stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe to get the latest mod talk down the road. But today we're here to talk about the third stop in the Elite National Series, which is going to be in Puebla, Mexico. So, Kirk, what are you most interested in leading into this?
Jeez, Kirk's good looking. I can't even get over this.
Continue.
We need to redo our emoji, what are they called? Our caricatures?
We do need to do that, Kurt.
Oh, you guys are the best.
I'm blinded.
Good. I don't know how to respond to that other than if you want to talk off mic later, we can continue the conversation.
Whatever they gave me on for this surgery is really bringing out my inner feelings here.
All right, it is Pride Month, so I guess I haven't seen the course map. I haven't dissected it yet. So my main curiosity was the elevation profile difference between the originally assigned course and then this new one. Have you guys? I haven't looked yet, so I assume you guys have all seen the elevation profile. That's my first question. What's it look like?
The map is out, and Jack, I was going to ask you if you had any map thoughts to redeem yourself from last time. But we'll just talk about it now. It's not. There's not a lot of gain and loss. I think it's just set pretty high, but it seems pretty runnable. And in terms of the terrain,
the beast is 1,920 total feet of elevation change.
And it's confirmed that's feet, not meters.
FT. That's what it says. Okay. 586 meters, parentheses, 1920 feet. So they
change or gain?
Elevation doesn't list it, but my guess is gain and the equivalent descent.
So usually they just put the gain on there, but this is a different company, I believe, who puts these races together, which is why the map was out almost 10 days before the race, which is great. Yeah. So we did get a good chance to look at it. So I mean, it's not nothing, I guess, but over the course of 13 miles, it's not a tremendous amount like what we're used to in some of these mountain beast courses. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be a grindy mountain type of course. And on the elevation profile, I don't think there is like a big climb that you're going to get a lot of that gain from. It seems to be up and down, kind of undulating the entire time. So I would expect it to be 1,900 feet of rolling hills.
Pretty flat start, maybe around miles 3 to 5, goes up a little bit, down a little, but you don't have those massive peaks like you'd see at Big Bear or Tahoe or anything. It's pretty level. But we don't need everything to be a crazy mountain beast course. So I think it's cool. It is an elevation, but it's different than we're used to.
And that's the thing. This should be celebrated, except it was already promised as a elevation mountain course. And people made decisions based off that. Had they led with this information early in the series, I think there'd be a lot more people who would have been excited about it or not excited. And now roles have been reversed because it was kind of like a bait and switch. I like that this course is the way it is, but not the way it got here.
I believe there was a second, an initial location for this, and it had to change kind of at the last second. So I think that potentially that first location was going to be a little bit more mountainous. Where this one,
they demanded payment up front.
What's the elevation when you say it's high? Do we know where this is taking place at?
9,000 feet. Like,
it's way up there.
It's way up.
Very high.
I thought it was mid 7s at the start, but it's that high, Jack. I think it's like in the 8s.
It's super blurry, but I remember seeing some Strava, and you were looking at like 2,900 meters. So that's like right.
That was the first venue for sure. The second one still is.
It's still high.
Yeah, that was the Llanos de Conejos venue that I saw from like 3-4 years ago that they've held it at before.
That's almost worse. Like, I would not want to go run flat and fast at 9,000 feet. Like, that negates Flatlander and sea levels chances even more. I'd rather go grind up a mountain.
Yeah, because you at least get to run downhill.
Correct. Yeah.
Bracken, is there a precedent for a course like this where it is high but is not necessarily mountainous that we've run in the past? Or even like, what would be an example of a beast course that that has had high level competition on, not like a Fayetteville or something like that has been 13 miles of just kind of like rolling terrain and not really gaining that much?
To elevation, you're not going to find that.
Yeah.
The most runnable was probably Breckenridge the first or second year, but that's still mountains. In terms of just the competitive beasts that are flat, Glenrose is probably the next closest. Jack, you might be able to correct me, but on U.S. soil, Glenrose has a couple little like mini ridges, but they're not real ridges. They're like
nothing.
Foothills. You'd probably get the same amount of vert, and it's across, it's a trail cross country race, and it's not at 7 or 8 or 9,000. That's miserable.
Seattle has had a beast a couple times. That's definitely not at elevation, but it doesn't have national series level competition. I know that Fort Carson and Colorado Springs last year, that's at elevation. Granted, it's a super, and it only had a few hundred feet, which is kind of a shame for Colorado. But you do have a couple examples of higher elevation not being like all up a mountain then down a mountain, but it's not common at all.
Yeah, Ohio Beast had a little bit, but most people did the ultra there. We haven't seen a National Series flat beast ever.
This is about the same amount of elevation change or elevation gain as Abu Dhabi, but it's not sand. So
here's the interesting thing. Anyone who's ever gone to altitude knows you can crank out a mile or a half mile. 5K is rough, but you can still attack it. You just feel bad. Or you can grind up a mountain. The single hardest thing to do is run threshold at altitude flat. Like trying to tempo.
You're thinking like, 55, 6,000 feet, it's possible to go run a 5K. If you're talking 9,000 feet,
right?
That's like another level of suck.
You are right. But that tempo running is, I think, the hardest thing to do at altitude. 10K through half marathon pace, maybe even marathon is like the death zone. And that's what they're going to have to sit in. If there's no climbing, this is just a half marathon trail race, which that's brutal.
So who has the advantage in something like this then, right? Is it still the people who live in altitude who might be the mountain climbers, but they just aren't doing this type of running, but just being used to being high up? Or is it going to be the faster runners who are going to have that advantage, and maybe they slow down their marathon pace by 30 seconds, and they're still that much faster than the rest of the field? Yeah. I mean, we don't have to answer, so we don't want to give away our
draft. I was like, this sounds like somebody wants some info.
I have it all. Sort of.
So I can think of a few people who wish they were there that live at altitude and are fast marathoners.
I would love to do this course. I'm thinking of me. I think it'd be great. And it's
Rich, $350 round trip nonstop to Mexico City. Get on that plane. Don't do 4
Is that right? Is that all it is?
Yeah. From Denver. It was a few weeks ago.
So we expect the climate to be dry. Correct. I'm not exactly sure. Like is it rainy? Or actually, I did hear that it's. So what I understand of the climate, right? It's kind of how LA can be in June, where it's kind of a fog rolls in, and then when the sun comes out, it can kind of burn it off. So that might lead to some wet obstacles early.
If you look every single day, the rest of this week, it's low 70s, mid 50s for the high low, 50 to 70% chance of precipitation, thunderstorms in the afternoon, like.
It's like tropical feel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Those storms always rolling in the afternoon. The morning's probably guaranteed to be calm and beautiful, but maybe a little condensed. So you're right.
You're a Mexico expert, Kirk.
Anytime you live in the mountains like that. Oh yeah. Anytime I've been there, it's like that. Everybody knows this. You go spend time in the mountains, and this time of year, that's what happens every single May and June. Storms.
We got hail yesterday in Colorado. I'm sure you saw that, Rich. But...
We didn't get hail here now.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful morning, and then suddenly it looked like the world was going to end, but happened.
Another thing that is worth noting here, there's a lot of running at the start until you hit about a log. There's a log carry here. There's a couple of like some old school obstacles on this, like the log carry. So that's somewhat early. And then there's a huge loop of running. And then really the obstacles don't really start until like the last 5K. So it's almost 10 miles of just running. We're going to get Ape Hanger here, which is more fun than a game changer in terms
when
of
it's
an obstacle.
Wet, the give on it plus the wetness does matter. Palmerton, we've had wet before,
and humid.
That
also
was difficult.
And it's hard there. It can be very hard in Palmerton,
especially if it's second half, and how they chain it. So Tahoe is just so sterile, unless you're freezing, unless you swam first. But if you didn't just go through the dunk wall or anything, it's fine. But once it gets dew or humidity on it, it's actually difficult, especially if you're dripping sweat.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
I mean, not difficult, but you have to approach it as if it's wet rather than, I'll adjust on the fly.
It's genuinely a failable obstacle for some people. So.
And there's a lack of familiarity. Well, when we saw it in Tahoe, even because of the colds, the women had a really hard time with it. That ruined a lot of races just because they got cold and couldn't get warm, and they got hit that sandbag carry, and people were just out. People just got hypothermic. Bracken, I believe that ended your race as well.
Yeah, it did.
So gloves are okay on it. You can rip your glove if you're on there.
Cutters failed me.
Unbelievable. And that's like a good glove too. You know?
Yeah, I upgraded from my Walmart Wilson brand to cutters for Tahoe because I wanted 2-lap durability. I should have just brought 2 Wilsons and swapped each lap.
There we go. Now we know. So for those looking for glove recommendations, Wilson's. I use some Amazon ones are like $14 or something.
Yeah,
like
that's all you need.
Throwaways.
You're gonna trash them either way.
There's also a. Go ahead, Jack.
Oh, I was going to say an obstacle that I think is actually going to give people trouble is the one right after that, balance beam. That's I don't know if it's going to be like a slack line like you've seen in Europe, but I know that Killian, Woods, a few other people when they went to Greece had trouble with it. And that's, if it's just a solid, wood post or something, that's easy to get over. But if it's a balance beam or a slack line, that has the potential to mess people up.
This is the single biggest thing missing, I think, from the old obstacles to the new, because we haven't lost too many from Spartan. They just haven't progressed. There was a balance obstacle on almost every beast I ever ran going up until probably 2015. And in some supers and sprints, and sometimes they were beams, sometimes they were log hops, sometimes it was a combination of one to the other. And it was one of those things that everyone dreaded because it doesn't matter how often you pass it. It's like the spear throw. It doesn't matter how many times you hit it. It's going to bite you when you least want it to. And I like how that we had it one time in a national series race. I think at NBC Breckenridge, they had log hop. But other than that, we haven't seen it since Killington Worlds.
They had one Palmerton the first year I did it, which I believe was an NBC race.
But it messes with you.
And I missed it. It's the most anticlimactic thing ever. You're just like are on the ground. When you get through it, it's the easiest obstacle that you could ever come across. But when you fail it, it's just like, this. So if it's a slack line, though, slack lines are hard no matter what.
And they have nice ones.
I think what I like about this is like they're letting the Mexico, however Spartan is run there, they're letting them do their thing. And then it got me thinking about, well, we've got a couple of Canadian races, one in the series and then the North American champs. And Canada's known for sort of shaking things up a little bit with the balance obstacles, some non-traditional conformist Spartan obstacles. They had the old Hobie hop when I went the last time. They had the
Mexico has that often.
Yeah, the tricep dip bars that you had to like scuttle across, whatever it is. So I'm hoping like maybe this isn't, because we've been kind of complaining about Spartan, not innovating. And let's be honest, the balance obstacle isn't innovation. However, it gives me a little hope that maybe there's some things in Canada going to happen too that might be just a little bit different than what we've been seeing.
There's also a swim. And it doesn't really designate what that swim is going to look like. Sometimes they will have a swim, like I'll just use Palmerton as an example because we've been talking about it. There's a swim in Palmerton, but it's more like of a wade down. They make you put on a life jacket, but like you're not actually swimming.
Which is interesting because 2 of the years I've been there, you couldn't touch the bottom. It's whether it's high or low.
It was a swim. Okay.
Sometimes it is a legit swim.
And I've been there where it's been like belly button deep.
I've never had that.
Where West Virginia is a swim. That is a non-negotiable. You're
7 minutes swim
a long swim, which can be a bit of a game changer depending on what your strategy is going to be in that and how familiar you are with swimming under duress. Like if you're just going to do flutter kicks or versus some sort of breaststroke, some frog kicking, like whatever it is your strategy is, it can throw people off because you might not know what it feels like after a long swim like that later into the race. Because I believe the swim's also in the last 5K.
Are we going to need to get a swimming mod score? Because you just said under duress.
Bracken?
Yes, always.
Well, we'll just have to take that half-mile segment after the swim, and that'll be your specific swim mod score. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah. Your sod.
Bracken, has there been an international race in a national series? Has there ever been any element of unfamiliar travel outside of a world championship race or a North American championship type of race?
No, just people. It's one-offs. People. I've gone down to Mexico, Dubai. Killian's done, Andorra, and maybe one other. You've seen people.
Austria and Japan.
Yeah, you see people jet over for something. Kent did a European stadium. Megiddo was over in Japan, I think, or Tokyo. No, he was over in something. He might have commentated, not raced. but he was overseas coming back from. Anyway, people go off. They're just one-off races. We haven't yet seen like another because they're generally franchises. They're not. They're under the auspices of Spartan, but they're standalone. As long as you check certain boxes, you do whatever you want. We've never had one of the franchises say, this is the way we're going to do a race and have it be a national series race. And like Kirk was talking about, that's a cool shakeup because you don't have to innovate to make things new and difficult. You just have to do other things. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just give us some more wheels.
Yeah. So this is actually kind of a cool tie-in. So I looked it up. Since we're talking about international athletes and U.S. athletes, how many people do you think have podiumed in the U.S. and Mexico before?
Both?
Yeah.
Just raw number, how many?
Yeah.
2.
11.
Oh, 12. Super close bracket.
Oh, you didn't let me guess. I was going to.
Oh, sorry, Rich. I thought I heard 3 numbers.
I say, are we guessing who?
No, you don't have to guess who.
Okay.
But
Let's see if you can get a quarter of them, Bracken.
All right, go
if you can
for it.
get 4.
Angel.
Yes.
Layup.
Me.
Another layup. Yep.
Miguel. Medina.
Yep. Correct.
Hunter.
Yes.
Chikorita.
Yes.
Has Chris Scherf?
No, you're done. So we'll cut it off.
Got 5.
Alex Nicholas, Hugo Godoy, Isaiah, VJ. He did Acapulco. I think 2021 when he had that podium shirt issue. Alyssa Hawley, April D, and Maria Isabel Zamora Zarate is the other. So got 12 athletes who are familiar enough. In this field, you've got Angel, VJ, and Maria. So you have 3 of the 12 who will be racing, who have experience in both countries.
I forgot Nicholas did one down there.
Yeah.
Those first 3 that people went down for were just massive, massive nightmares out on course. Everyone going the wrong way, doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And Jack, I know you've done some analysis that's a little bit more changing time zone, like people going to Europe and the Middle East for racing and vice versa, them coming to North America to race, and how much of a drastic change that is in terms of their results. Do you anticipate it changing the results within North America, just changing, just crossing the border, having a little bit more of a hard time navigating like who to talk to and what to eat and how it's going to be like getting into your hotel, like just little things that might add a bit of stressors outside, because the time zone shouldn't be much different. What is the time zone there? What are we? Are we on mountain time?
Central or mountain time for what they're at. I don't think that it's going to be as big of a deal. Bracken for sure knows more because he's done a lot of international racing. But realistically, as I mentioned earlier, you can get a 3 to 4 hour nonstop flight from Denver. That means that pretty much anywhere to Mexico City.
Right, but then there's like a 3 to 4 hour drive from
Mexico City 2.5 hours after. Yeah, I was going to say
you don't want to be doing if you don't have someone there helping you.
Yeah, it's going to be a little more extreme, but I don't know. I feel like most of the athletes who will be traveling for this race have done an international race before. This isn't going to be their first time doing it. And you've seen athletes like Angel and some of the other ones that I mentioned who have come over from Mexico to the U.S. They do just fine during travel. I know it's a little bit different, but I don't know. Bracken probably knows more, but I don't think that it's going to be the same as if you were to go to the Middle East or Europe.
I can't think of a time that I've gone to Mexico. I think I've been 3 or 4 times now where I didn't end up in the bathroom all the time. Mm-hmm. Not once. And I don't know about you fellas. I mean, I've been careful and I've still been like in the bathroom by day 2. I'm wondering like who's going early, who's going to be empty by the time they hit the start line as coming from the US. I know that's a silly thought to have, but I've been there pretty much every time.
Yeah.
So,
well, and there's 2 types of international travel. There are places where English is as common as everything else. And then there's rural Mexico. And there are Mexico cities that are based around tourists. And this is not an area like that. So I had trouble with my rental cars. It was a nightmare. I had trouble navigating. Driving Mexico City is a nightmare. And getting out into the countryside, you're at the mercy of your phone. So my prediction is someone's not even going to make it to the start line. It probably won't be a huge name, but rental car snafu, whatever's going on, if they don't have pre-planned people to help them there, or they're going to get into a group and crowdsource the problem. It will be an issue for someone. Even if they do make it there, there's going to be a bunch of people who get there with bad sleep, bad GI, and you don't want any of that stuff at altitude when you're trying to run fast.
Definitely download your maps for offline viewing, just in case you have bad reception.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is get stranded in the middle of nowhere.
Have any of you guys been to Mexico City?
That's where I learned to drive stick.
It is. Mexico City is a nightmare. I mean, you think any of the big major U.S. cities are like a cluster and busy and chaotic? Like, go to Mexico City. It's
5 lanes.
It's like
It
New
can be
York
right.
on steroids, or L.A. It's just a nightmare. So, like, I just see that being very frustrating for some people.
It's a bigger city than New York.
Yeah, it's
Population-wise,
huge.
Yeah.
Mm.
And nothing makes sense. The rules of the road are it's like watching just like a herd like confine into and out of spaces. The road will be 5 lanes and suddenly be 3, and they'll still like fit. They always fit an extra lane of vehicles into whatever it is. If it's 2 lanes, they drive 3 wide. If it's 3, they drive 4 wide. It's just tricky. And if people are stressful travelers, that's going to get to them.
So you got stuck with a stick shift rental car? Is that what happened in Mexico City? Because I can't imagine dealing with that in that sort of traffic. It's organized chaos at best.
I went down with a debit card, not a credit card.
That'll get you.
And none of the international companies would rent to me, even though I had reserved already. So the only one that would rent to me was like someplace that I think I ended up renting someone's vehicle who worked there. We were communicating through an app. I was trying to call my bank. It was a nightmare. And eventually they wrote down on a piece of paper, it said, car at curb, 15-minute tow away. And I had to just go find the cars because they dropped it off and just left it at the curb, facing the curb. And there's like a 2 or 3 lane highway that goes back it. And I had to back it out into traffic and go. And I don't know how to drive manual. Backing it out is getting into and out of first and reverse to me were the hardest parts of trying to learn manual. And I killed it like 8 times. And there's, those security guys with their rifles there watching this gringo just massacre someone's rental car. Eventually I just opened the door. I put it in neutral and just kick pushed it backwards into traffic. So I didn't have to worry about getting out of reverse back to first. So I just like backed it up while honking and got going. But in a mile into it, you hit a massive roundabout going into the city. And I probably got stuck in that thing for 15 minutes because I kept killing it because it was, rush hour. It was terrible. It was like a 30-minute drive to my hotel, and it took me over an hour. Started thunderstorming in the middle of it. We were bumper to bumper for an hour and a half. That was my rental car experience in Mexico.
So we can expect that to happen to at least someone.
Yeah. There are people in the sport we've talked to who they always carpool because they don't like to drive.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like to drive in New York City, what's going to happen in Mexico City?
For sure. So let's talk about the who's going to be there, who's not coming. Jack, give us you were doing your thing. You're up in them DMs, getting the intel that we need. We appreciate you for doing that, Jack.
No
Appreciate
problem.
Jack.
Say it publicly. So on the women's side, who's not coming that is worth mentioning?
Oh man, I would say the biggest name who will not be there is Emma Cook-Clark. It would have been amazing seeing her and Lindsay for 3rd straight race going head to head. I would say that she's probably the biggest no on the women's side.
Should be a favored winner, I think.
I would think so. Lindsay would have a run with her. I mean, and I just watched the Big Bear recap. Jack, great job as always. Back on site there. That Lindsay was only gaining ground on her on the descents. So if it was flat running, just up and down rolly, Emma could probably miss the spear and still win.
She's that good.
She's that good.
Yeah. Emma's pretty amazing. Other big names who've performed well in the national series, Ashley O'Hara will not be there. Emma, let's see, Amy Cross, Erin Sonde, Lacey, Nicole still isn't healthy. Sarah Kais won't be coming back. Natalie Miano has an injury. So you don't have as many of the potential podium athletes there, but you have plenty who would be in the mix for a top 10 who won't be showing up.
Yeah, so it's still going to be pretty deep up top. How
it really will. Yeah,
it will be. It's not going to be like slow where it was kind of just the 2 and then the rest, where in Big Bear, it was pretty deep from 1 to like 6 or 7. So we'll just.
Are you talking
we'll
men
just
or
take
women?
Emma. Women.
Because I see the opposite. I see it's going to be one massive chase pack.
I suppose without Emma there, I guess that's fair.
I think we're
I'm
gonna have
to depth.
We're gonna have a lot go wrong for a lot of people, in my opinion.
Yeah. There could be a chase pack of 8.
Yeah. It's going to be really good battles. I think we all know who's probably going to come out on top, but I think it's going to be closer than people realize for the next pack, just like Bracken, and it's going to be deeper.
Don't spoil your pick. Is your show still called Who's on Top? Or is it changed now? Is Miranda still on?
Yeah, we're recording tomorrow with Miranda.
Okay.
So
Okay,
yep.
Great. Love Miranda.
Jack, do you ever work?
Yeah.
Your real job?
I do. I'm a
Okay.
big employee.
I believe it. I'm just curious with all
And a
this
great
podcasting
podcaster.
these days. All right.
I know.
Good employee, great podcaster.
Yeah.
On the men's end, who will we not see at this race?
Yeah, so that's where you're going to see a lot of the bigger names not there. Aaron Newell had a good performance in Big Bear. He won't be there. Hawk Call, he was planning on it initially, will not be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. Johnny Lunalima will not be there. Josh Riedinger, Josiah, Lars, Kirk. You already mentioned that you're not going to be there. Ryan Kempson, Sean Stevens Whale, Tyler Veerman. You've got a bunch of people who could podium or finish 15th, depending on how many people are there. So that's the biggest shakeup. But most of the top talent on the women's side will be there.
That men's field's cut like over in half compared to the last race. If you want to go rake up some points as a man, you book yourself a ticket down to Mexico City, get your butt there.
Sure, you're talking to yourself. Are you just looking in the mirror right now?
Maybe. Had a good workout today, feeling cute. I don't know. Maybe. Probably not, though.
Was that new haircut workout, or are you just that fit?
I'm fit as hell right now. I don't know how. Yeah.
Uninterrupted training. It's a beautiful thing.
It works. How do you think you do on this course, Kirk? I mean, it seems like a type of running that you'd be used to, as opposed just not the altitude part.
I'd get crushed. Me and altitude don't mix unless I get some time. So I think I would be frustrated not being able to. If I'm over 9,000 feet the entire time, I have a feeling I'd be left frustrated, is what I think would happen.
I think the opposite. You've always done well on like Jacksonville and Chicago when it was muddy, and obviously the Superior Trail, which has a lot of, just kind of just humid, wet terrain. With rolling hills, I think this would be a really good course for you, regardless of elevation, because most people are not used to that elevation, and that terrain fits your skill set.
I think if we took a group of Spartan athletes and we made us all run a half marathon on runnable trails, I would bet on myself to potentially podium right now, to be honest. So in that regard, I agree with you. However, altitude, man, I don't think I've gone one time and not felt like my life was turned upside down.
If there were 2 races, if they had like the card carrying I live at altitude race and all the sea level guys have to race, I think you against all the other sea level people are going to handle altitude as well as anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do against people that live there? It's just such a disadvantage.
4,000 feet, 5,000 feet. I think I could maybe fake it, but 9,000 feet. Oof.
But like with the people who are at altitude, they're mostly running mountains. I think and you haven't done altitude course without mountains, so it's hard to know. Like, have you ever done a?
You ran a 906 2-mile at altitude.
That's true.
You know what? Maybe I'll pick myself as our wild card. Is that possible? Just kidding. Let's move on.
Do what you want. Okay, cool. So let's start talking about the draft. That's what we're here to do. It's time to get fired up. We got to talk about the results from the previous one. We'll just touch on it briefly.
Let's do that.
The KB Corral. The KB Corral is 4-0. Kirk is 2-0 in his lifetime. He's undefeated here.
Feels good,
even though Bracken made most of the correct picks last time, but you're still learning.
No, come on, Kirk, don't listen. They're trying to drive a wedge between us. We know these tactics.
Oh, and I've come to terms with the fact that you are the reason that we not only won but dominated because of those. You convinced me of like 2 picks there, and that's on you. I support my partner. I stand behind my man.
Yes, you do.
I'm 2-2. Hanging in there. It just could take one swing, and we're tied up. Jack, however, is 0-4. So he's got to really bring it back. He's got to hope for you guys to get last and me to get second to get even be in the mix.
I'm hoping my international knowledge helps with the racers, because this is my chance.
Yeah.
My prediction is if Jack goes 0-4 again this week, or
if I go 0-4, that's bad.
0-2, that he resigns from his real job and he goes all in on this.
Oh,
Should be like Matthew McConaughey and 2 for the money. He's just gonna be sitting there working out, sweating, pouring over the numbers.
Yeah.
So let's talk. So we have a wheel of names that will dictate our draft order.
That's part of the show.
That's part of the show. So let's go ahead and bring that up so we can. And we're still doing. We're not going.
We do keepers first, I thought, so that we're not influenced by the order.
That's true. So let's do keepers. Good call. I was thinking it was the opposite.
Yeah.
All right. So
He's just grasping at straws.
No,
No, desperation's an ugly look on anyone.
Except Kirk right now, because he's so handsome.
Kirk could do whatever he wants right now.
Yeah, Kirk can make it happen.
I'm feeling really good about myself over here.
Yeah.
So
right.
I'm guessing the corral does not know what their roster was looking like last time. So why don't we pull that up so they can take a look and they could then
There's the roster.
think about. And I actually just pulled it up as well.
Okay.
Using our graphics on our race.brain on IG. Follow.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a follow.
What are the rules for keepers again? Just refresh me.
It has to be outside of the first 2 rounds of picks. And then whatever you
take you're not eligible. Yep.
Yes.
So 9th pick or later, I believe, right?
7.
Correct.
Or later, yeah.
How would it work?
7 or later.
How would it work with
I don't know how math. Yeah.
With waivers? Would your waiver pick be your last?
No, we had someone be a waiver last in 2021 and already set the precedent for keepers, so I don't think we can do it this year.
No, you can't keep your waiver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're wild cards.
I think I had a Chris Brown waiver and I wasn't allowed to keep him.
Yeah. I think that was the scenario.
So you can't keep Mark Gaudet this time.
No. His waiver was Lars, or their waiver was Lars.
No, the keeper was Lars. Their waiver was Mark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
it's tough to keep all of our awesome picks straight.
I thought waivers. I thought it has to be a one. You can only pick someone from rounds 3 to 10. That's what I meant instead of the.
So your wild card.
Well, yeah, wild card waiver. I got the W's confused.
What do you want to do with?
There was a situation last year where someone got a wild card and they were not able to keep it later. So it had to be someone in rounds 3 to 10.
Because wild card are people that we might not know are coming, so
exactly.
It could be a really good. It could be like a Kempson or something like
John
that.
Albin or something.
Yeah. So what do we want to do about waivers then? So if they wanted to keep Mark Gaudet, would he be then their last pick? Because that's typically how I've done keepers in the past. If you pick some up off the waivers in like football, you pick up. I don't know. I'm out of football terminology. I don't know any of the players right now. But if you pick up somebody and you get to keep them as your last pick in the draft, do we want to do that? Or because that wouldn't. Because if we replace, I think that's what it should be.
Yeah. Because everyone overlooked them.
Yeah.
So Mark got in around 10. Wow.
If that's what you want to do, Jack, let's let them take a look at their roster a little bit. Jack, who are you going to keep here?
I've got Bracken pulled up.
Oh, okay.
And his team. I thought I was sharing the screen. So
you're not
share
sharing the screen.
I want to see something.
It says StreamYard is sharing your screen.
Okay, hold on. I got to make my thing. I got to make my.
I was clicking on stuff.
It's on my end.
Hey.
Yeah.
There it is.
There we go.
That was on me.
Here's who you're eligible with.
The highlighted.
These ones. Yep.
Does that include Hawk or no? He's not there, I guess. So whatever.
Hawk is not there.
Going.
So people who are there.
Oh, this is tough, Kirk.
Those are your yellow. Those are the ones who are there.
Is it tough? And Mark would be your last pick.
Hmm.
It is kind of tough.
I think I got one. What do you think, Brian?
Honestly, I'm torn between Botras and Gaudet.
Mine was all in on Botras, given the nature of the course.
But since Gaudet would be our last pick guaranteed, it's tempting just to say give us him in the 10th spot.
Yeah, but Gaudet also does live at elevation too.
It's good value.
Since we can have him last and still pick Botras whenever we want him.
That's a
I've
good
leaned
point.
towards Gaudet.
He's got good
Rogloski-
flat speed too, I suppose.
Rogloski just did a 100-miler and she struggled. She messaged us saying that she listened to our DNF episode afterwards because she had come real close to quitting. So
Let's go Gaudet, I think. I think
10?
now that I'm thinking it through, I mean, Mark Botchus was the flashy, shiny thing, but I think Mark Gaudet is the right choice here.
All right.
Okay.
You're just gonna overlook Rogloski. Okay, that's fine.
So
I thought
round 10 for you guys.
Would you have picked Rogloski for sure, Rich?
Yeah, I don't care what she has done in the past. It doesn't matter. Without Emma going, she's exempt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still can take her.
So here's the other thing. So you're going with Gaudet. Rich, here's your team. Since you already have Nick as your keeper, didn't we say if you pick them back-to-back times, that's the only time that you could do it, and they have to be your first overall pick?
He'd be my number one pick this time.
Yeah.
Find out how much he likes his boy.
I do like him, and I like him on this course.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and keep Ryland now.
Ryland in 4.
Ryland in 4.
All right.
Shocker.
And my people.
If Rose was a lower down pick, I think I would have taken Rose.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But at 3, could probably get her there again.
Probably.
So my roster, I would have to make Alex the number one pick.
Here's a no-brainer.
Woods in 7. That's a good pick.
I wanted to pick him in general. I would consider him a top 2 guy potentially on this course.
Wow, he's in the top tier.
Yeah, I've got him heavily weighted for this course. So Jack, I got a little Woody envy.
You got a Woody.
I think Ryan's gonna remind us who he is this weekend.
Yep. He did not do Charlotte Savage race, which to me shows that he wants this. He's focusing on this race.
Glover Teixeira fights this weekend, and he captured the UFC belt for the first time at 43. And I just think it's I don't believe in coincidence. We're going to have Woods come out and do the same thing.
Those two seem to be pretty tied, pretty close. I think that makes sense.
Both written off, both back at it.
Okay, so just confirming, Ryland in 4 for Rich, Woods 7 for me, and Bracken and Kirk Gaudet in 10.
Looking at these lists of names, there's this one category, 99% not racing. Is that always just going to be Chris Brown underneath that one? Is that just his own category?
I think so.
He did the beast at Big Bear. I didn't realize that until today. Yeah. I was like, and he won by like 10 minutes.
What were his words to you this time, Jack?
Yes, good question.
Okay, I'll pull it up.
Because we're starting to be able to decipher a little bit of the Chris Brown hieroglyphs.
Yeah, we need to clarify.
Wind talkers are necessary.
He sent me a picture of someone who looked like they were overweight on the couch, so I think he's implying that he's fat and out of shape, which I don't believe. But let me pull it up. Okay, so I messaged him. I said, I know the answer is already 99% no, but are you doing the race in Mexico next weekend? And then he sent me that, and he said that is correct afterwards. That was it.
So same answer as always.
Same answer as always.
So 50-50.
Take him at your peril, but
is there a trail?
Yeah.
There is a trail.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the thing.
He'd be nasty on this course.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm like 99% sure. Here's the Mexico race. Yeah.
If I knew he was here,
Trail 10K, they've got both of them.
I'd consider taking him number 1 overall.
He's put in 200+ mile weeks these last 2 weeks, which I mean, and he could race well on that. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't look like he's planning on it based on his current training.
200
plus
bracket.
Chris did that in one day.
Oh, speaking of which,
true.
They found 2 hernias.
Oh,
in you?
Yeah,
a 2-for-1.
So maybe he's prepping for a double or triple hernia surgery. I don't know.
That's the only explanation. All right, so the draft. So we drafted in snake style, 5 men, 5 women, 1 wild card. We're allowed 1 keeper, which you just went over. It's cross country scoring, so it's the sum of our top 7 finishers, men and women combined score. Lowest score wins. It's dual meet style, so it's head-to-head scoring. So each week we'll have 2 different outcomes. Have our keepers. Are we ready for the wheel?
Let's do it.
Waiting.
Let's do this.
Came out of surgery asking how many hours till the wheel.
Last time you guys were in first and just blasted through the odds and still took away the first overall. And whoever wins the wheel gets to select where they want to draft.
Look
You
at
guys see
us.
it?
Yes.
Mhm.
Just one lonely
Sliver.
All right, we ready?
piece of the
All
pie.
right, we're spinning.
Come on. Oh, rigged.
I'm okay with that.
Go ahead and take it.
Way to go, Rich. Congratulations.
Thank you.
My favorite result is for Jack to get it and not to win.
And screw up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go again. Let's see. 3-1.
I like my odds.
Looking
Yeah.
good.
Okay, Rich, what were you gonna? Which order?
I am unsure. All right, Wheel of Names. Nice job. Great work as always. I need 1 second to think about it. So,
Oh my goodness.
You should know.
We have two people
Well-
over here and we're just firing off decisions for you.
It's true.
I want number 1 pick.
All right.
gonna
Oh,
go
he's
ahead.
gonna Sacramento Kings this. I can feel it.
We're just thinking about that. Well, they're in a tough spot this year. They're gonna really screw it up. Not me though. Jack, however,
Yeah.
what are you picking?
I'm going second overall. It's worked in the past, did not work last time, so it'll surely work this time. And that leaves Bracken and Kirk.
Let's take third. Don't call us Shirley.
Yeah. All right, well, let me fill in the keepers. So round 4, Rich, we're doing Rylan.
Mm-hmm. And then Jack, who'd you keep?
Round 7, Ryan Wood.
Woods.
And 10. Oh, what a steal.
And you have Gaudette.
Mark Gaudette.
I got a good feeling about Mark on this one, to be honest. He's healthy.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's looking good.
His last race, he was 2. Yeah, let's just talk about the keepers real quick. Says we'll probably skip past them. So I like Mark here too. I think that last race was it was after 2 ultras, and he probably had COVID in Big Bear.
Mhm.
So
He did.
should be healthy, a little bit more rested.
Unknowingly.
We didn't give Mark the respect he deserved in our draft, and then he went out and he laid an egg, right? And he did that because he was sick and he was coming off of 2 ultras. And now we're going to really talk him up and we're going to build him up, and he's our guy, and he's going to come through. So we
Yes,
put it
he
out
is.
there. Yeah.
I like it for him. Like you said, he does have some good wheels on flats and lives at altitude. Has been here a while now. Won the Ultra World Championship at altitude.
And you know what? Special Forces sometimes gets kind of overstroked, but you know what they don't care about? Situations, travel, food, sleep. That man's going to drop down to sleep anywhere on this planet and be just fine, wake up and ready to rock. He's not going to be thrown off like other people might.
Yeah.
And he's
I
done
think that's a good point.
24-hour races. Like he's used to competing on
Yeah.
really bad conditions.
Yeah.
Do you
He's
think-
not going to beat himself.
No. Do you think the athletes who did most recently travel to Abu Dhabi have a bit more recent experience in terms of like what to expect from the unknown, and might have a little bit more like learn from that in terms of like this unfamiliar travel? Will that play into this at all, you think?
It should.
It should.
Mm.
So I like it for the 10th pick. Seems like value. Jack, Woods. We'd mentioned it quickly. We like it. We all like it. Him and that UFC fighter who's also old. They're doing great. So we'll see how. So Jack, how you feeling about it?
I believe in Woods. That's why I picked him last time. And I think that he was running a great race and kind of gave up after he ended up having to do burpees and was out of contention. But he might be a little bit slower. He always does what, just kind of like I mentioned with Kirk on the sloppier terrain in Jacksonville and Chicago and, you know, some of these nastier courses. He always does well there. And he seems to do well at elevation too. Might have lost a step, but I like his odds.
Is he sleeping in his tent these days? In his elevation tent? Do we know those stats?
I don't track sleeping.
Haven't
behavior.
heard.
I just have this vision of me on the treadmill watching Ryan Woods run to the top of Squaw Valley first, like 3 years in a row. I'm always watching this guy. When he preps for altitude, he shows up.
Mhm.
And it never went his way, but he was always able to just run with anyone at altitude. And if we get anything close to that version of him, he's going to be an issue for people on course.
Yep.
And we talk about it as we age, the high end output is probably what's going to go first. We talked about it a couple of times already. This pacing is not going to be breakneck for most people. So if it sets into like a slower grind, I would expect Woods to be at as fast as anyone in that type of work rate. So I like it.
Yeah, I have pick envy on that one. I really hope to snag Woods today.
And then Rylan, the young gun here from opposite ends of the spectrum. I think he's already headed down there. So Kirk, like your point gives me a little bit of pause. Like I hope that he is navigating it well. He's not tapering for this. He's just going to go after it as much as he has in the tank. But he is young. He's new to the sport. He lives at altitude. He's getting faster. He's learning it all. And he's just confident. You know, he's not going to shy away.
He's got more wheels than we give him credit for, too. Yeah. Like, I know the fitness we all had around him in slow and the paces we were running. Dude can run fast and flat as well. So I think he's got all the tools in his belt he's going to need to run well there.
He's been 5th and 6th this year. If you're getting him 12th overall, that's a steal. Yeah. He is hiking a 17,000 foot tall volcano / mountain, though. So that's the descent is what would worry me a little bit.
It's easy work for him. He's going to fly down. He's going to throw that parachute out.
It's too unpredictable weather.
Right into the. Oh yeah, not around the volcano.
That dude's stoke birds are always chirping, aren't they, Bracken?
It's
incredible.
Never seen someone get that fired up about nature. He just loves his life.
I love it.
So I think he'll like the travel part of it and just seeing it all. I think will be a good for my team here. All right, are we ready?
Do it. Rich, number 1 pick.
Draft. I'm going to go ahead here and take Lindsay Webster.
Oh, bold strategy.
Oh, my God. I can't believe it.
I think I'm going to go ahead and take Lindsay Webster here. So when was the last time she's lost a National Series race?
11 straight races, period,
Nicole.
dating back to 2019 Tahoe that she has won.
Yeah.
Nicole's been the only speed bump in the Lindsay Webster story.
And really the Tahoe one, I would chalk up to injury. And the other two were sea level flat races at Alabama and Jacksonville.
Yeah. Nicole could have beat her at Tahoe. She was running great, but we weren't seeing a full Lindsay health.
Still got to mention it.
You're right. That was the best Nicole has ever been at that time. But when you have a stress fracture in your foot, Kirk, what's the one thing you don't want to do? I would assume bomb a downhill.
Run in general.
Yeah. But you took her single greatest weapon in Tahoe, which are her descents, and you removed that. So the only place that she would guarantee to take time back, she couldn't. So we'll never know.
Yep.
But without Emma being here, becomes pretty clear. We'll see how she wants to navigate this type of course, if she'll take it easy and because as we've seen her do in the past, or if she will just try to assert herself early. Both strategies work, especially with the athletes that are in this field. So I don't think you get good odds to bet on Lindsay here. So that's why I'm taking her first.
Yep. I'm surprised we don't see Faye Stenning here. She generally can race well at altitude. She's obviously in good road distance shape right now. This might be her course to sneak in and just steal a second.
I just don't think she cares enough to put in all that effort to go race somewhere right now.
And I agree with you. It just you look at it on paper and you think, who's the fastest person here? And I don't know if there's not a standout on the female side to who the fastest runner is.
I think it's still Lindsay. If this was a 10K, I think she would still win.
Yeah, of the next.
Of the next. Yeah, that's a good point. It would be a race for sure.
Yep.
All right.
Obvious
Jack.
pick.
Below this one.
Next obvious pick, I'm going with Ryan Atkins. I think that he and Lindsay are going to be the first two to ever podium in Canada, Mexico, and the U.S., which is the Elite Series this year, and they're both going to come on top.
Yeah, I mean,
no one else has done that.
No one. Ian Hosick also, and Ashley Heller, and there's one or two more in the field who have podiumed in Canada before. So you could see a couple other people do it, but I think the safest bets are obviously Lindsay and Ryan.
I
Brad,
podium
you live-
OCR Worlds in Canada. Does that count?
Yeah,
Spartan.
Oh, now we're gonna add qualifiers.
I
Or
guess
World
Bracken.
Championship.
Yeah, you're the well. They also did in Canada. Well, not Mexico. So you're right, Bracken. You're the first.
Put some respect on my name here.
Definitely, it's an embarrassment. Yeah.
Atkins at this one, I mean, he seems to be the clear pick on the men's field, but like, have we seen him on a flat beast? Like, what is it? Is West Virginia the closest thing that we can point to that is going to be similar to this course?
He's won there. He's a good swimmer.
But I
Just
wouldn't say
came
that
off a win.
they're
How
not that
does-
similar of courses.
How distorted is our perspective when 1,900 feet of gain over 13 miles is a flat course? What is wrong with us?
Yeah.
It's not going to be a flat course, right? It's going to be broken rhythm, and that's an Atkins written all over it, no matter where the rhythm is broken or how. That's what I think.
The first 8 miles it's pretty much running. There's one carry in there, and where things are going to get interesting. In the first mile of the last 5K, there's 2 carries in like 1 mile. Like the sandbag and bucket are like a half mile apart. So like if Atkins is around by those carries, like I think that he would be the favorite, but like I think people could get away from him here.
I think this is the hardest place to be because for both of these picks, the question is, do you take VJ Jones or the best person on paper?
You don't think he's the best person on paper?
I don't know. Is Mark Batra set up on paper to be the best person on this course?
Maybe.
Is VJ? Is the narrative that he is not a beast guy tied to a mountain beast? I don't know. I'm done overlooking Ryan Atkins.
That was my thought. He just won. You can't leave him at this point.
I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't
Regardless, you two are gonna have some great back-to-back picks right here.
Yeah, this is the King's pick.
Yeah.
So I'm torn because I want to go back-to-back guys here, Kirk.
You do.
I do, because I feel like if you take Botras and VJ, you have wiped the board clear of the potential winners. But you're leaving out, you could take the second and third women right now.
Yeah, you just got to look at who's got true podium potential on both sides of the board. And yeah, we got Mark and VJ. I think we have to pick VJ no matter what. VJ needs to be picked. I don't think you can make an argument against that.
And you look at Mark from slow and give him 6 more miles of running,
But you put it at 9,000
At altitude.
which he's shown the ability to do.
Yeah.
He's run
done it in
uphill at Tahoe.
That's true. He was 7th there a few years ago, but he was
And
also
he was-
45th there in 2019.
He's never been outside of top 5 at the top, I don't believe.
That's my only thing with sometimes his strategy is that it's a little bit too aggressive. And like, we look at him now with how well he's done in World's Toughest. It's like, oh, he has the distance, but I think he can overextend himself for this 13-mile distance a little bit too often that we've seen it, but he's gonna try. He's gonna try to be on the podium for sure.
So we agree on VJ?
100%. Yeah.
All right, let's give us a VJ.
Yeah, lock that in. What I want to do is just like, part of me wants to just get lucky and be like, well, we got like 3 women to pick from, whom one of them is going to take second place. And that's going to be if we're going to win this thing, we're going to pick one of those and we're going to nail it.
Can I just add something on VJ real quick?
Yeah.
You know that he has never podiumed at a beast.
Yeah, but he was 4th in West Virginia, or 5th.
6th was the best that he's ever got in a beast.
Ever?
I still think it's, when do we run beasts?
Yeah, well, California,
He's basically done West Virginia and Tahoe in the past.
Right, because a lot of the California races where he got a lot of his experience from, they're not always beast distance,
but
right?
I'm mainly mentioning this because once he finally does podium at a beast, which is going to be pretty soon, I think that we can officially say like
Saturday.
He's progressed enough. Yeah,
he's mentioning it to give you guys pause in your pick to throw.
No, they
you
already
off for
locked
this
him in.
next time.
I waited
I know.
for that.
No, I know. Then now you're just in their heads for the next pick. And
VJ said in his interview with us recently, like he needed to get his nose rubbed in the dirt a little bit, and his nose has been rubbed in the dirt a little bit. And I don't see him going and taking any worse than 3rd here.
So on the female side, we always lump Rose and Alex Walker together. And if they are together, Rose lives at altitude and Alex doesn't. So this would seem to be the time she finishes ahead. But do you not pick Annie Doobie?
That's who my mind's going to. And then Rhea Cobal's the longer the better, and it's at elevation as well. But my eyes go right to Annie Doobie right now.
If Chris hadn't just looked mortal this last weekend, I'd be pushing for her. But let's just take Annie. We're both on board.
Well, I guess the question: do we want to? I mean, that's the pick I want from the female side. But the Mark thing, like we know he's going to be in the race 6 miles into the race, right? But I think Annie's going to end up on the podium. I think she's going to podium here, don't you?
I don't see her being a bust.
Me either.
Like she's 2 through like 4 would probably be as low as I could see her going. I'm good with Annie if you're good with Annie.
I'm great with Annie.
Lock her in.
Sorry, Rich.
Damn it.
That was who I was
I'll
going
be
to
right
take
back.
if you didn't. So
Yeah, I mean, she's just gonna become more and more fit.
Yeah.
You know, like it's only gonna
she's
get
already
better.
down there.
She's raised. She gave the podium she ran for the podium in Big Bear in her first race back, where she wasn't quite confident in how her elbow was going to go. Didn't miss any obstacles, just missed the spear. Had a couple hangups, and Chris was just having a day. She was just having a weekend, and not much you could really do.
And that's the thing. We remember her most recent accomplishments, but we also have to remember that those things add up. Like she is a freak of all freaks, Chris. But you can only go to the well so many times. And eventually, even if she can still keep doing things, she's going to lose percentage points. And to go from a rate, I think she did Savage to High Rocks to Spartan to Savage to Spartan to 100 miler. Like at some point, you just can't nail your races anymore, even if you're still really, really good.
And travel coast to coast many times. Don't forget about that.
Well, we've been talking about this. Isn't the first time we've said this. You think now is the time?
I'm not saying it's now, but this is the biggest stacked series of events that I've seen her do. And she reached out to Kirk and I, and she said that episode hit me because I was so close to quitting. We've never seen her even like acknowledge a weakness before. So I don't know. I'm not saying this is the time it comes due, but I don't know of a single schedule that's been more stacked than what she's done in the past month.
Well, now the doubt that you are like putting out there about her is just going to fuel her fire even more. You didn't keep her, you didn't draft her.
No.
So, all right, that's fine.
And no one should touch her either.
And
Toxic.
maybe she'll last until it gets back. I'm not sure. Jack, what do you think?
I was going to take Annie with the next pick if she was still on the board.
I would have taken Annie there too.
Yeah. She's a best 2, worst 4 in my opinion. So you got to get those points.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
All right,
really, she's not best 2. We saw her almost take Lindsay in Carolina that year. So she
it relies on burpees though.
It does, but like the upper limit actually is 1 for her. Even if it hasn't happened, she's been in range.
Theory. Yeah.
For sure.
And I don't know if there's another woman in this field where you can look at her and say that.
This would have been a lot different with Emma in the field.
Oh my goodness.
This whole draft, but yeah. Okay. My pick, well, you didn't take him. I'm going Mark Batris, so thanks for leaving him.
Would you have wanted him over VJ?
In this course, yes. I actually would have taken him. Just because he beat him head to head in a 5K, and he's been so close at other races. Like, I don't know. I just feel like this is a great course for Batris, and he's proven on beasts in the past. I still think VJ is probably going to get third, but I would have gone Batris over VJ if the two were on the board.
This is one of those I think you could argue back and forth every week. The argument between these two. No matter what even happened the week before, there's still like, we have this memory of Batris blowing people away on the run and destroying world's toughest. And we have this memory of VJ just smoking through everyone on every course that he practically ever runs. And then giving it to Batris and slow. I don't know how you pick him.
Yeah.
Other than how could you not pick VJ?
VJ, for sure, his endurance is so much better. He's been doing 15 plus mile long runs and stuff at 6,000 plus feet every weekend. He's definitely going to impress some people here with his endurance.
If VJ doesn't win or podium, it's because he got beat. Batris is the one that will either beat them or beat himself. Like, he might fade. VJ is just going to do his job either way. And that's what makes Botras so scary is that he's willing to blow up. He doesn't care about that. And that's a weapon.
Yeah. I think for people on the board, Batris can win. So had to take him.
Jack, what at the beast distance? I mean, you had the stats for VJ. Has Batris, because usually when he shows out and gets on the podium, it's been in the super distance.
Yeah.
Is there,
if you're talking like national series level, you're right.
Yeah.
He's been more of a threat at super distance level or races
before he can blow up?
He's done well in West Virginia.
And you know he would have done well
until he hasn't
until he blew
Right.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
So you
but
guys
that
think-
course has so much more vert. He's just going to be broken rhythm less.
Do you guys think on the who's on top Yancey prediction?
Top
There needs to be a rebrand, I think, here at some point.
Yeah, we're gonna.
There's too
we'll
much
have a new
to.
name. Yeah.
Okay, because there's a lot of names.
The
Do you
OCR
think he'll be the
pickup.
person that will be picked to get third most, Patras?
Third or better? Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people would have him in their podium.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
He could win. He could get eighth. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
But he'll score for you. All right, back to
back to
me.
back. Go ahead.
Oh man.
You got some gems.
I wouldn't have to think about yours, Rich.
Yep.
I'd plug them both in right away.
Don't talk to me while I draft.
Same.
Yep. Obvious picks. Two
Don't
straight.
talk
Yeah.
to me while I draft. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's that obvious.
You can pass, and I'll take the next one if you want.
I won't
Have we
pass.
done any trading ever in this draft?
We could.
That'll be a good next year. We have to keep it the same this year.
Why?
Well,
you
just
know.
because you're not the person who's about to get traded with.
Maybe trades have always been part of this. We've just never done it. All right, I'm going to take Rose here.
I think that's the most obvious.
She spent time in Mexico also, so she is.
And here's where he's going to have to decide if he wants to sleep on the couch this weekend or not. He's got to take Nick here, but there's a better option.
This is great.
I love this internal wrestling
talk-
match.
Don't talk to me while I draft. I'm going to take Chris Rogowski here.
Whoa, that wasn't where I was
Did
thinking.
not expect it.
Going for the ladies. Load it up.
It's not a bad pick.
So you think that she's just not going to be affected? Like she's proven it time and time again. I will give her the benefit of the doubt over literally anybody in this field.
That is her
besides maybe
affected.
Atkins.
Fourth place is affected.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
She won the
That's
High
true,
Rocks
she
World
go.
Championships.
Yeah.
Didn't sleep. Drove to Big Bear and podiumed. That I'm done. I'm not.
See,
gonna
I
say
think-
when it happens, she's run
I thi-
100-mile races before. She's going to do a bunch.
I think
this
she's
year.
fantastic. I think the come down from all of that, multiple weekends of bad sleep, you can not fake it because she hasn't faked anything, but you can get away with it. Like you can get away with an hour of sleep and still race well 2 days in a row. But once you start compounding and traveling, like rent always comes due and it's time to write that check. And I unfortunately think she's writing it right now. And Chris, if you're listening, that's no fault to you. You're going to come back and crush everybody. I just people are human. I don't care. I don't see it. I want to see it.
You guys are selling your stock. Okay, I'll buy some.
We're not selling.
not-
We're
it
just
sounds
not
like you're
selling
selling.
anymore. Her stock's as high as it's ever going to get right now.
It
Yeah.
doesn't sound like it. Sounds like you guys are selling.
And
selling at
don't
the high
for-
price. I
Don't
think
forget
can keep
you
going.
by picking her in round 3. Now she's eligible as a keeper for Utah. So
I remember.
good move there.
Thank you.
Okay.
What about Rose? So you mentioned she spent time in Mexico, but I don't think she was.
She was living there. I don't think she was at elevation, but I'm
She was at
just
the
saying
beach.
in terms of culturally and food and all the other digestive issues that Kirk was alluding to. She might have a little bit better grasp on it than others.
Just
Yeah.
takes one.
And she's
One ice
fast.
cube.
That's just
One ice cube is it.
I don't think you develop a stomach for that in one vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
and like I said, she lives at altitude. Is one of the faster runners.
I have her second ranked on the women's side for this
Tier
race.
or overall.
Rose.
Second overall.
That'd be great.
I mean, who else lives at altitude who's got her wheels? I can't point to anyone. So
Yeah. No, I think Rose probably ends up third, but she's had multiple podiums last year. She hasn't looked as good this year, but she was kind of dealing with some health issues. But I don't blame you at all for picking her this early.
That's a great back-to-back set of picks, though.
Yeah. All right, my pick.
Your pick.
I'm going with the athlete who is used to this, Angel Quintero. We saw what happened in Abu Dhabi. Once travel's involved, you suddenly see the locals do a little bit better. Sergey, he lived in the Middle East for a little bit, heading into Abu Dhabi, gets second place. Fantastic athlete, but is he really second place most of the time? Probably not. And I just think that having that local feel and just being used to the obstacles that he's going to see and just the travel, he lives at 9,000 feet also. Angel, he's going to have a heck of a race.
He's who I wanted. He's always my guy.
That's your boy. And I mean, yeah, he does well at high altitude races. He's probably pretty fast. What do you think his 5K, 10K non-mod?
I don't know.
Oh, he's like in his prime days, he's a sub 15 guy for sure.
Yeah.
He was like a low 9 steeplechaser, I thought. Which,
for whatever reason, it's so endearing to me to always watch him blasting down these mountains in his Adidas SL20s. Just doesn't wear trail shoes. Doesn't need it. Honey Badger don't care.
Okay, I like it. And I mean, that's the first Mexican athlete off the board, and we're gonna have to draft some of them. So he was probably the surest thing.
I didn't think he was going to come back to me at 11 because Bracken is on the team that's picking next, and he loves Angel. So that was my rationale.
All right.
Yeah.
Was that
you have two guys I wanted.
Yeah.
But
Jack's just drafting dudes.
He's just drafting my picks.
That's
you had the chance. You took my picks. I wanted VJ and Annie, but you took them.
Kirk, to me, it's real obvious.
Oh, we need to pick 2 females, and those females are obvious. Done
Okay,
deal.
I was actually going to go one of each.
Wow.
Wait a minute. You were going to go Nick?
I was going to go Nick and Alex.
I was going to go Alex and Rhea.
Let's do it.
You feel good about that? Look at the numbers on the board. Like, there's only 4 chicks been picked. Like, if we're going to play the odds here, and there's been 7 guys picked, we're gonna snag some good points out of both of those. No questions asked.
Yeah, and I was just thinking we have God waiting at the end here, so like we already have a guy we could wrap up and then just go on a girl run. But either way, Alex Walker, let's put her in.
I think we're losing Alex and Rhea if we let it go any longer, and then we're starting to just guess between the men in the 5 to 10 range after that.
Jack has to draft ladies at some point.
But do you need to? You can convince me. Nick's an athlete. He's a heck of an athlete.
My only thought is that he's still a top 3 guy potentially, and no one else on the board is.
You don't
say no one.
Let's go
Rhea. Let's go Rhea.
I think Rhea could pull something off here.
I think so. 9,000 feet sounds Rhea-ish to me.
You going Rhea?
Yeah.
I like it.
And I really like stealing other people's athletes, so I wanted Rich to have to explain to Nick why he waited so long and didn't get him again.
All right.
No,
I think that's the smart move, taking the women. I'm kind of in a tough spot with them.
You're in a bit of a pickle here, Jack.
All good, because I've got Nick Mask on my team right now.
You're going with him. All right.
Yeah. He messaged me and said I'm worth a 3rd round pick. So getting him in 4th, that's good.
Yeah.
So
I think still have no females. Is that true?
That's correct.
True.
I have to go all women now, but I'm fine. I like who my team is. Would you be mad with Atkins, Batrus, Angel, Nick, and Woods as your men? Probably not.
Well, no. Other than that, they'd have to go 1 through 5 in order for you to balance out your women.
They easily could. We know
they could.
Yeah.
I still think Nick could be second here or first. Yeah. Nick could win this.
Think of what he's done in Seattle on a beast course. He's got the 2nd fastest beast time ever, and just muddy kind of humid terrain on rolling hills. He's done really, really well, and he's already got a 3rd place this year. And I know he didn't have the best showing at altitude last race, but that's power hiking. That's not this type of terrain, and his foot speed is going to be dangerous.
What was Nick's sentiment on how he felt at altitude for Big Bear? Did he share any of those thoughts?
Rich would know.
He wasn't afraid of it. He didn't think that it cost him anything in the race. It was more the descents, and he missed the spear. So he's feeling confident about it. Yeah, this is a course of the runners in this field. I mean, maybe outside of Batres, I think Nick is going to be the next fastest guy. And I think he's going to do really well.
You felt so strongly about that you let 12 picks go by and didn't take them.
And I thought you guys weren't going to take them.
I tried taking them.
You were afraid to make him your number 1 overall pick in front of Lindsay. He'll remember that.
That's true. That's true. That's on.
Could you scroll down for a second, Jack? I want to see the rosters.
Yep. So Rich has one guy, 3 girls.
No dudes.
I've got all guys, 5-0, and then Bracken and Kirk, 2 men, 3 women.
When in history has picking all one gender before picking the other ever worked out? Has it
We're
ever
about to
worked
find
out? I can't see this going well because when you did it, Bracken, it blew up in your face, didn't it?
Yeah, I had to try out a couple things. I was testing out training plans and different coaches at the beginning of last year, and they all sucked. They all blew up in my face. And then I got back down to what works. Jack's circling the drain here. He's just firing off Hail Marys.
Well, you got to realize I could have 5 men end up scoring. All I need are 2 women to do well.
No, I mean I understand that concept.
All right.
You're going to end up with Isabel Zamora, and you're going to have someone else, probably Barriga. You're going to go international.
We'll see.
So you can just lock them in now if you want. I'll let you have both of them.
No, Rich, you're up. You already locked in Ryland. We got to
Ryland.
play by the rules.
This is my next pick here. Right.
Yep.
This
is such a good value pick.
Yeah.
Ryland at 12.
5th and 6th so far this year. Less competition this race. That's good.
I'm gonna need him to win. I don't know.
There's another guy on this list who's asking for some respect to be put on his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Two of them, actually.
I'm taking Logan Broadbent here.
He's one of them. He and Hosick are just getting no love in drafts this year.
Logan probably has, I don't know. What do you think? Marathon times 2:32. Top
he could go rip
3 to 4 in this field if you set him on a flat marathon. And Boston's a little bit rolly. The altitude's a question mark. He lives in a very humid part of the country in Ohio. Yeah, that's true.
Poor man's West Virginia, rolling hills. Great turnover.
Did really well there. Yeah, and if you get a chance to get out and get rolling, I don't know how technical this is going to be.
I could see him he's, he podiumed in Jacksonville in the sprint due to, great fitness, don't get me wrong, but the tire snafu, and he ended up in a podium. But I don't think in a U.S. series, Logan's ever taken top 5 outright. Let's say he just outworked everybody else. He's been close. I think you could see him in this race, maybe have the chance to outright earn a 5th position.
I think at West Virginia, he was 4th.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
just behind Tyler.
Batres faded to 5th, right?
Yeah.
6th.
Okay.
6 or 7. No. He may have been 9th.
I thought it was I thought Tyler got 3rd, and then right after
Logan.
I'd love to see Tyler here.
Yeah, Gaudet was 5th.
And then I think Mark faded to 9th. He missed the Hercoist.
Yeah.
And
I think a rough ending. But he was pushing it.
And Tyler Logan can't get off of work or what? What's the deal with Tyler?
Yeah, he just said he's not going to this one.
Is he going to be in Colorado Springs?
He was trying to be at. I don't know. Probably not on Saturday. Probably Sunday.
Lucky.
But he was trying to go to Big Bear, but he couldn't get off of work.
Yeah.
Good pick,
Logan here. So I mean, where I picked him, it's good. All right.
Yep. All right. My pick. Well, I have to pick a woman, and I'm gonna pick the one who got 8th place at Big Bear and who is probably the best athlete from Mexico on the women's side, Berenice Barrera. I just, same deal with Angel. She's used to the conditions, home country, and she kind of stacked up pretty well in Big Bear against some tough competition, and she's done really well in Mexico throughout her career. So I think she was the best athlete on the board, and yeah, get to know her.
I was going to take her just because I knew you were going to take her here, and I just wanted to throw it in your face.
Yeah.
But couldn't risk it. Got no dudes.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, she was 8th at Big Bear. She won the Mexican series in 2021.
Yep.
So she's going to be the best Mexican athlete in this field. So, yeah, we'll see how. So I could very well see her being top 10 again, like no doubt.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Bracken and Kirk, back to back.
Kirk, do you have any strong feelings?
We're kind of in our first pickle, I feel like, here.
Yep.
Like,
2 men, 3 women.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's 2 less men chosen versus women. So for playing the odds, trying to focus on the women makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
But
I'm
Ian,
okay even going 2 women here.
You are.
Yeah.
Well, and I've thought about it. Ian Hosick on the board at this distance at elevation. He can run flat if he needs to, and he's good in the mountains. He's only getting more fit. So there's a case to make for Ian cracking the top 5 in this race, which would be a no-brainer, to pick in a sense at this point. But I want to hear your thought process. And then there's a couple women that stand out. But why don't you let me know what you're thinking?
Well, Casey and Faye are always on my list. They're just my old standby. I know I'm going to get good, solid points out of them. And then Ashley Heller, I feel like she's due at some point. And Alicia Keeker is steadily improving. So those are my 4 women I'm looking at. I don't know if any of them move the needle more than Ian Hosick does.
Who has the best top end potential of those 5 people? I would say Ian's the only one who could crack the top 5 right out of them. What do you think?
Yeah. We just haven't seen him, but it doesn't mean he can't. So you want Ian and one of the women?
I could be persuaded on this one, but I don't like that Ian's still sitting on the table because I know his potential at the beast distance at elevation. So I think we should take him, and then I'll defer to you on the woman of our choosing.
He's going to put it in, and he's going to turn the blame right on you, Bracken, when you goof up this pick.
I might.
Let's go Faye Morgan.
Oh, when in doubt.
Automatic 8th to 10th.
When in doubt.
She is as reliable as any single athlete. Like, you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
I approve.
And then who's your second pick? You got back to back?
Oh, let's just try Ian Hosick then.
Just wanted to wait an extra round to keep him for a potential keeper.
Totally our strategy.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Actually, I thought we announced him already.
I thought we did too, but no, keep him there just in case. No, yep,
Okay.
Your mistake is our benefit there in case.
Nah,
I like Utah for him, so good.
It was a verbal typo, so yeah, solid picks. But okay, my next pick, I am going to go with Ashley Heller. I think that she's done well in human environments before in the past. I think she got 4th place in Asheville last year, and I don't know, she's just kind of she's been pretty consistent most of the time, and she has a lot of top end potential when she has a really, really good day. So no issues there.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay. Yeah.
Back-to-back
I don't
Rich.
know. Yeah. Okay. All right. For me. I'm gonna take.
Before you go, Rich, at this point of the last 2 drafts, we were still haggling over world championship podium contenders. This is starting to really show the lack of depth in this field compared to the first 2. And I don't know if it's an issue of going over to a different country or what, but we were still talking about absolute world beaters in the 7th round and 6th round last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 7th and 10th, Woods and Gaudet, but
We're starting to feel that
those are locked in.
being able to have a dropped race. People are opting for this one to be the dropped race, much like how it was at the end of last year. So,
yeah.
So I don't know.
This is Big Bear from last year, basically.
I don't know. Jack, what do you think? Would you draft yourself in this draft?
Not having come back from COVID right now, like there's no way.
Okay, if you didn't have COVID, where are you drafting yourself? You taking yourself right
I take
here?
myself as a wild card. I think I can get 16th. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So you're saying you're better than Ian Hosick?
No. 16. There are 15 men and 15 women who get picked. I feel like.
Wild card.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow card.
Yeah.
All right, I'm taking Miguel Arroyo here.
You have some inside information?
On the
No,
pro
I just
team.
know that he won the Mexican Series last year, and that's legitimately all I know about him. Jack, what else can you tell us about him?
He's a decent racer. He's on the pro team. There wasn't
Whoa.
as much competition. when
This just in.
no. Yeah.
Decent racer drafted.
Is that what we're
Yeah,
paying you
yeah,
for,
I know.
Jack?
He
No,
won the
I
series
had
and he's
him-
a decent racer.
I had him 20th seed in my list that I've got right here compared to everybody on the board. So it might have been a little bit of a stress. So you probably should have done your research. But he's a solid athlete,
Ouch.
and just not. He started his career in age group, kind of like Annie did, I guess. But she's obviously had better success. But most of the time, he's not, with Angel at the front of these type of races. But
So just to clarify, he's a decent racer, he's a solid athlete, and he's a Spartan pro.
and he's going to give it 100%. Yep.
Real Spartan pro.
Let's hear
drafted
your
him first.
insight. You tell me. You guys tell me. You couldn't even pronounce his name. That you only did first and last name, not the middle two, Rich. So go ahead.
You knew who I was talking about.
Yeah. But
The guy-
Listen, the cheapest thing to do is to turn around and attack, Jack.
no, the
Sometimes it's
cheapest
just-
thing to do is try to blame someone when you don't know any info about them, and then put it back on them like course map stuff. But
We all have our role here,
yeah,
and yours is guru.
hey, I gave you some info. You didn't know
You
he was on
wanna-
the pro team.
If you don't
I
wanna be
could
the
have guessed
guru-
that he was a decent racer and a solid athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have guessed that.
All right, Rich. Who's your next decent racer and solid athlete for your back-to-back pick?
I'm gonna go ahead here and take.
Don't do it.
I don't know. I have nobody in.
You're-
mind here.
You've got 3 of each gender.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have gone to the top.
I'm gonna take. Hold on.
You're so worried.
All right, dude. I'm gonna say Maria Isabel Zamora Zarate.
There she is.
There,
There you go.
Jack.
Double
There.
Z flies off the board.
You crushed it.
Yeah.
Now, I have some inside information about her.
Okay. She hurt.
She enjoys running. She's into outdoor activities.
She lived in Mexico.
And when they lined up by alphabetical order in class, she never got to be line leader.
Yeah, dead last.
So do with that what you will.
Sounds like a good value pick to me.
She has raced in the U.S. quite a bit. She's often on the podium with Alex Walker in Texas races, and she comes over a lot. So she's faced plenty of U.S. competition. This is kind of right around where I think she should have been picked.
Great.
Yeah.
Jack, you're skipped here.
Ryan Woods, I'll take him in with the 20th overall pick.
This is the Woods pick.
Kirk, if it were just me, I would go off the freaking rails right now. Okay.
And just as a reminder, you've got 3 men, 4 women, just like Rick.
I believe that the surefires are gone.
Oh, I got one I think is standing out to me that's going to come through better than her perceived worth at this point.
Well, okay, sorry. Next round, I'll go off the rails. For now, I would go Alicia and Casey. What do
We
you
only
think?
can pick one female, I think.
You only
though,
need
right?
one. Yeah.
You've got 3 men, 4 women.
Need some dudes.
I think Casey's gonna have a good race here. So
Good.
that's what I lean towards. But what about you?
Yeah, she's always on Team Badass. So let's do it.
Badass. Going with Casey.
And then I think we should get out the dartboard. We should close our eyes and we should just throw it.
I would take Chris Brown.
You want
At
to take
this-
a non-wild card?
Okay, so here's my here's my rationale here, Kirk. And it doesn't have to be this round, but in the wild card, it's either going to be Tiffany Palmer or Chris Brown is going to be taken by everybody. Right?
Mhm.
So our chances of getting wait, can you scroll down the wild card?
You're last.
So our chances of getting either of those two are not good. Which
Zero.
means we're gonna have to pull the trigger on them early. Now, how early is it? Do we have anyone else on here that we think are guaranteed to be top 10?
I don't know 2/3 of the guys on that list.
Right. So if we're guessing they're not going to score for us anyway, for me, a swing at a Chris Brown's worth it. Now, is it super early? Yes, but if he races, he's a keeper for Utah.
You can't move your wild card. It doesn't count as your wild.
No, I mean, if you're picking someone you don't think is going to score for you, and you choose someone else as a non-wild card, basically wild card,
I think it's smart. I think you should do it.
The logic either.
I stand behind my man. I've said it from the start, Bracken.
Okay,
Chris Brown.
Chris Brown.
I'm going to take Sergey
Lack of
Proligan
knowledge
here.
of anybody in Mexico.
Yeah, and to not have to say anyone's
Do
name.
you think anyone from Mexico, if Chris shows up, do any of them beat him?
Well, no. Does anyone
but he's already picked.
If you were that pumped about anyone from Mexico, you would have taken them by now.
That's true. Yeah.
This
So
is like
we're all at the reaching point. Other than I still believe Alicia can be top 10.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I can say her last name now, and it makes me feel good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Sure.
This is like taking like Josh Gordon in fantasy every year. It's like he might play by week 6, and when he does, it'll be awesome. But like,
he's going to run 2 back, and then he's going to get popped.
Then he's going to get popped once again. So it could be tremendous value, and then you could keep him. You can't keep a wild card, so you can keep this.
He's not coming to us in the wild card. No one's going to let Chris Brown go by in the wild card. There's no one going to be left by there that's so enticing, unless someone has inside information that someone may or may not show up.
We got 2 long-term solid investments between Ian Hosick and Chris Brown to push through till Utah. We need them. I like that.
Utah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, KBB at Utah would be.
And we still don't have our Gaudette pick officially made, so I like where we're at.
Me too.
Yeah. All right, so I'm up, and look, I have to pick one. Okay, next pick, I am actually going with Eloisa Godinez Romero. She ended up winning the last race that was down in Mexico, and after talking with Angel and some other athletes, they say that she might be the best female athlete in Mexico right now. So I was just banking that none of you knew that. So
not Godinez. Just I
think the Enye got removed when I typed it, so because I have a replacer thing. So
is that a legit excuse?
Yeah,
because either you said it wrong or you didn't type her name correctly. Either way, it's disrespectful.
It's got the Enye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you'd like me to fix it, I can. Doesn't really matter.
I prefer accuracy.
Okay, well, I'll pick that. Here we go. We've got our Enye coming somewhere.
Easy fix.
Yeah. Easy. All right.
And then
this is why I kept it simple and I drafted Chris Brown.
KBB.
So it does not look like the Enye is available for some reason.
Just pick one of those with another little thing.
There we go. Here we got our Enye.
Capital.
Gonna be... You know what? That's not doing it for me. Can we go back?
That looks stupid.
Still confusing.
That's not we're gonna have to go back. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
my pick.
She was the best woman left on the board. Yes, we've got rich back-to-back picks. 3 men, 4 women have been taken for you.
Decent athlete. I'm gonna take Andrea. Help me with this one, Jack. Clorec.
I think you have to pronounce the A. Clorec. He's French.
Clorec.
Yeah.
Like that. I took
You know
both
about
French and Spanish in my time and did very poorly and can pronounce very little in both. So this dude, he was in the mix in slow. He
1 place behind Kirk.
Yeah, and I think he also had a miss there. He was in that group of people who ended up in like that 15 to 20-ish range. You know, remove a lot of the depth from that race.
Did he fail something there?
Yeah,
I think so.
He also did a race this past weekend. I think it was Monterey, where he grabbed the top of Helix like 50 feet from the finish line, and they gave him an arbitrary 10-minute penalty. So instead of second place, he ended up getting like 20th.
My guy Tigger Lauder laid it down on people in Monterey. Gave it to everybody.
And Andrea is also like a 33-minute 10K guy and a really good triathlete. So running, he's got a really good engine.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably got a pretty decent mod then if he's a triathlete.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Another pick. You've got 4 and 4. So last pick of each gender before the wild card.
Let me get Alicia Keeker here.
All right.
She's due.
The obvious one.
Yeah. She's actually done a race in Mexico recently. It was more of like a hybrid style race. She went down and kicked butt. Yeah, but she's been training for the national series, and altitude's a bit like the climbing is more of an issue for her than I think the actual altitude. So it's a bit long of a race for her. So we'll see what this is going to be telling for her in terms of how well the running that she's been putting in over the course of the past 12 to 18 months is paying off, and seeing where that is in terms of progress. So she could definitely pop one because she has been training so hard, but also it's a little bit of unknown with the distance and with the altitude on this. But
yeah, nope, probably the safest bet left in the field. Not a bad pick. All right, me. Okay, so I have to pick women. I'm going Claudia Pavia. She is typically on the podium down in Mexico as well. She's also raced in South America before, and she's just had good results from what I've seen. I think out of the remaining athletes in the field, based on the stuff that I've looked up, she's the best one remaining. So that's what I picked.
Okay. Who'd you pick last round?
Eloisa Godinez Romero. Okay. So I'm at 5 and 4. Both of you are at 4 and 5 for men and women. And we've got Bracken and Kirk. Your pick.
Now, have you counted Gaudet as our man?
Yeah, he's already on there.
Okay.
So you have one more pick.
One more guy.
Is there anybody that could be showing up that isn't on this list that we didn't hear back from?
I have asked like 120 different athletes, and every single one of them replied, or I was told by like someone who trained with them that they're not showing up. So like I asked Alvaro if he was showing up. I asked Johnny, Josiah, like a lot of the big names. They all confirmed now.
Nobody's giving you the cold shoulder anymore. Like Kempson not responding. You got all the intel, huh?
So Kempson posted that he's not going to show up. If you want to take Kempson, go ahead, but he's not showing up.
We don't reach for guys that we don't think are going to be there.
Yeah. There's no precedent for this. There's no precedent.
Be there doesn't mean he's racing.
Kirk, I would go Clinker because he beat me and he lives at altitude.
I was just going to close my eyes and pick one of the Mexican guys just because home field advantage, but I would weight that on nothing. So
okay,
I'm impartial. If you like Clinker, go for it. If anybody that can beat you, he should end up on the podium, right?
You're darn right.
Easy. Is that what you want? But we can't wait. Yeah, we got one male. Is that what it is? So
yeah, it's
last guy, and then your next pick is the last wild card. So I'll let you look it over one more time.
I don't care.
I'm fine either way.
I do not care.
All right, Jacob.
Where did he beat you?
Ohio
he's a much improved athlete.
Oh.
Yeah.
He hasn't had his breakthrough this year.
I don't know if we've even seen him.
Did he whoop you in Ohio? Did he whoop you?
Gave it to me.
Okay, I like that. All right, Jacob. Now I feel something for you. Let's do this.
He's solid.
You talk about Fatkins and stuff like that. This was Fat Bracken in Ohio, but still, he gave it to me.
All right.
Pre-hernia surgery, not directly after the hernias.
Yeah. Okay, so
post-knee pre-hernia.
Between injuries, basically.
I did it as week 1 of it was my get back into running to start prepping for Tennessee Mile. So 13 weeks later, I was in decent shape.
You snuck that one. That was the last second one too, wasn't it, Brett? Did you even use your name?
I used my name. I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That affected your Yancey camp score pretty severely.
Oh man.
Just saying.
He beat me.
Is that still up to date, Jack?
I'm updating it probably after this race because you kind of need some data points. Otherwise, it's just not really fun to look at.
3's a good data point.
Exactly. Okay, so last pick for me, I'm going Maria
Barriga.
Yeah.
Oh, I called Zarate and Barriga 8 rounds ago. You should just let me draft your team next time.
I might actually win if that happens. So yeah.
Don't
I looked at the head-to-head records of every single athlete in Mexico, and she is the best remaining on the female side compared to Bertha, Dulce, and Lucero. So
yeah, she was third in the national series. So
yeah,
on the podium there.
Yep.
And Jack, you're right. It's tough to track people in foreign races because they'll use so many different names.
Yeah. Or you'll have like an accent over, or like a tilde over the E, and one race it shows up, and then other times it's just a regular E. So it's really difficult. You kind of need to know what you're looking for to find these athletes. So, yep. All right. Last pick of the standard draft, Rich. You have to pick for this one.
Dude.
Sorry,
Camacho is such a sweet last name. I was tempted to do it based off that alone.
yeah.
I'm going to take Mauricio Martinez Valdez.
All right.
The fact you knew
racing
there's a
forever down
Valdez in there means you've done some research.
I did a little bit of research. I didn't just do the DeWint dart method.
It's a good method.
Oh, he's good. He's got at least like 10 plus podiums in Mexico. He's a really good racer down there.
All right.
Now
around.
it's the free for all. You've got Rich, then me, then Bracken confirming all of us are 5 and 5. We can take whoever. Rich, if you want to take someone who's not even going to be here, go for it.
No, I'm going to take Eugenio Romero. Is that how we say this?
Eugenio.
Huh?
Eugenio.
That's the guy I want.
Yeah. He was who I was going to pick. So good job there. I just ran out of guys.
That's good?
Is it?
Yeah,
Jack's 0-4.
Yeah. That doesn't sound great.
No, he's raced in Greece. And he was I think he was 12 to like 20 in all of his finishes there. A couple minutes behind a lot of the top US athletes there. And he's always on Angel's shoulder in races in Mexico. And I think he was 20 seconds behind VJ when he went down to Mexico a couple of years ago. So without question, he was the biggest person who people didn't pick.
Sounds like a decent racer. I'm excited.
Yeah, that was definitely the best guy on the board. I had him ranked 8th or 9th. He's right around Logan. So
nice.
he's a really good pick there.
Value.
Yep.
Who you taking?
All right, I'm going with the 227 marathoner who's being trained by Angel in his first year of OCR, Ciro Perez Barragan. That's all you need to know. So really fast guy. Switched to OCR this year, and Angel has been training him. He's also he's a paratrooper in the Mexican Army, and we know that being in the Army has paid off for a lot of OCR guys in the U.S. So I'm taking my chances with them.
I think that's a great value pick there.
Yeah, it is.
Sounds good. Jack has to get at least one unproven runner.
Yeah.
To go out into the first OCR race and completely bomb. But at least you took it in the wild card this time.
If it's as open as you say, it'd be awesome if he's leading at mile 8. That'd be pretty cool.
This Ciro?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
How fast did he run the marathon in?
227.
What year?
He ran like a 112 half marathon within the past year or two, so he's still got speed.
Year or
is that
two
speed?
Is a big range. If you said he did it last year, I'd say okay. If he did 2 years ago,
you guys look it up. You guys tell me what his most recent marathon.
You can't be the stat guy and project your research into us. We're not your grad assistants.
All that I know is Angel told me that he is a 227 marathoner. I looked it up on Google, found him. Really is, and.
Is 112 something to be like, oh, great.
That's still holding 5:30 pace for half marathon, roughly. That's moving.
It's noteworthy in our sport.
Yeah.
See what his mod's like.
We will.
That's right.
He also won a race in Mexico earlier this year over most of the athletes who are in this field.
Nice. So. All right. Great.
Kirk.
I mean, what's the Tiffany Palmer status? She just didn't get back to you, Jack.
So I talked to her at Big Bear, and she's like, I just like keeping you guys guessing. She said that. So she's never going to tell us.
If it was just me, I'm plugging her right in. And I got both my wild cards, KVB and Tiffany, who have both saved me in the past. But if you see a name on here that just leaps out and grabs you like a face hugger from Alien, let's do that.
Tiffany hasn't committed herself to racing nearly as much in the last few years as she did in the way back in the day. And so the chances of her going to Mexico to race, like I haven't seen her travel a whole lot in recent years for
She said
anything.
Big Bear, right?
What's that?
Wasn't she unknown for Big Bear?
Yeah.
And what'd she
And then
take?
she showed up.
She took 6th or something,
So,
didn't she?
yeah,
7th?
she was right in the middle of the top 10.
Unless there's some other top name, like I could see like a Kempson pulling one on us, or like some reason Isaiah Vidal crosses the border and goes down and runs for like who knows why.
Yeah.
I think
That's
we
a
just
good
gotta
one.
go. We just got to go with Tiffany. We're really
He's
reaching for
so
straws.
big right now, though.
Is he huge?
All in
Yeah.
CrossFit mode. Yeah, he's
Dude,
like an NFL player.
There's 3 major carries in this.
Yeah, Tiffany's the call. Yeah.
Tiffany.
All right. Shall we recap?
Of course.
Tiffany could join the Mexico, US, Canada squad.
With their
She was
OCR
on my
World
team for that
Championship with
OCR
you.
World Championship.
Tiffany, I feel like we all, back to the leaderboard days. We go back, Tiffany, me, you, and Bracken, right? Like we got this unspoken bond. So I say, even if you're not planning to race and you hear this, why don't you just book yourself a flight, huh? For the team, for your family over here.
I was on leaderboard for a minute.
Yeah, you were on leaderboard for a minute. That's
Can't
right.
forget.
God, that's back in the day.
Look at
the
us.
good old days. Veerman was on leaderboard for a while, I remember. Yeah.
Forrest,
Forrest.
Penland,
Forrest.
whole squad.
Yeah.
Dustin.
Whole squad on that real ish.
All right, let's do the recap. Rich,
Let's
you were
recap
the
this thing.
first pick. It's your team.
Let's talk about my team.
And how do you
So we
feel
got-
about him afterwards?
I got Lindsay Webster, Rose Wetzel, Chris Rogloski, going with the ladies. Ryland, Shadegg, Logan Broadbent, Miguel Angel Ponton Arroyo. I only had Miguel Arroyo, I believe. Isabel Zamora Zarate, Andrea Cloerec. How many was
Yeah.
that? Cloerec. Alicia Keeker, Maurizio Martinez, and Eugenio Romero. I don't know.
Your top 4 are stellar.
Yeah, my women's
And
picks
your
are
wild card. This guy could be fighting for a top 5. I'm dead serious. He'll probably be in that 5 to 10 range, but he's good.
So if you're on the women, I probably got a 1, at worst 1-4-5 is what I would look at.
I think we're going to see the smallest margins of victories and losses in this race versus any of the recent past ones. I'm just seeing it play out that way. Like, I mean, Bracken and I made you guys look like idiots last week, and I don't think it's going to be possible to do that. And I don't think anybody's going to do that to anybody in this one.
No.
Yeah.
I think you've got 8 or 9 points with your first 3 women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
At worst 1, at worst 3rd, at worst probably 5th.
finding those top 7 might be rough because usually you want someone that's in like the top, like if you get 2 people and giving you double digits, that's not great.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to rely on someone you've never heard of before to give you your last 2 spots.
Correct.
And that's exciting. I'm happy for you, Rich.
Yeah. This is
You're going to be all a tingle all day.
You better follow them on Instagram if they're on Team
joyous.
Rich. Yeah.
You know who you could have had?
I know.
Nick.
I know.
Could have had Nick.
I was
Well,
sticking it. I was
speaking of
sticking it to
Nick,
Jack. Jack
yeah.
had no women. I was like, you're gonna keep having none. Take
All right.
take the dudes.
Let's look at my team of guys. Starting off, Ryan Atkins, Mark Batras, Angel Quintero. Oh, Nick Mask. Awesome. Berenice Barrera, Ashley Heller, Ryan Woods, Eloisa Godinez Romero, Claudia Pavia, Maria del Carmen Barriga, and Ciro Perez Barragan. I think I've got a lot of boomer busts where I could have the top 4. I could have, 8 to 10 on the men's side, depending on how they do. So I was kind of going on ceiling potential for the men and just get them out of the way before everyone else snagged them up. And then women, I know that I missed out on a lot of the top Americans, and I honestly think that it's probably going to be 7 or 8 U.S. women or Canadian women who show up before the first Mexican woman crosses the finish line. So I definitely missed out on points there, but I was kind of banking on having a couple people later on score me some points.
You have 4 who can all go top 3.
Yeah.
But that's not possible.
4 or 5?
All 5 can't
Don't
go
forget
top
Woods.
3.
Yeah.
Woods could.
You have 5 who could be in the top 5, and that's powerful. And
Yeah.
then the rest is going to show how well you really I mean, this is going to be a testament to your international drafting if you pull
Ciro
something
is
off.
Ciro's the real deal. I think he'll probably be in that 10 to 12 range, so I can count on that. I think Berenice will probably be 8 to 10. Ashley Heller probably 8 to 10 range. Most of the Mexican women will probably be in the low double digits.
You think your wild card's going to be in 10 to 12 range in this men's field?
Yes, he's really good.
All right. Yeah. He ran 112 2 years ago. So
yeah, we'll see.
Seems like
I know Nick is probably faster than that though, and he's on my team, so I don't have to worry about Ciro scoring me points.
That is true. Yeah, I don't know. The women, I don't know how that will do at all. Your scoring might start at 11.
This is all on my guys scoring well, and hopefully one or two women doing well. That's my.
I think there's just too many holes to poke in the men's field with other really good men. So like, there's a lot of ways that could break down. So it makes me a little nervous for you.
I know. Like when I look at my women's squad, like
you have the equivalent of my men's squad on your women's side.
No, mine's better. Like there's no way that those 3 women on my top are going to get less than like 5th. Like there's a chance that
you don't think I have 3 guys who can get top 5 on my team?
They could, but I think the chances of them getting 11th, 13th, 15th are higher than my women getting outside of the top 5.
Rose isn't going to take 12th.
Where Woods missed an obstacle last time. Hasn't really done that well. Batris, we talked about, he's going to go out hard. He could blow up. Nick Mask, we haven't seen. Angel was 12th in Big Bear.
I like Angel's chances as good as anybody, just being on home soil, though.
Yeah, I think it's.
I had to snag him early.
Oh. Yep. Well, let's check out the winning team now.
Save last for last.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's a good looking team. I think we're going to smoke it again now that I'm combing it over.
Just because you recognize the names. You didn't pick a single athlete from Mexico.
So?
There was
it's bad karma.
Compulsory pick.
Just because you guys just didn't do the research. It's fine.
Yeah.
Didn't want to pronounce the names. I did 2 seconds of research. So
you don't want to take like minor in Spanish or something?
Nope.
Oh,
I spent three weeks in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and
that's
in Paradise. I learned a lot of Spanish there.
I'll drop a little como te llamas on you.
Mostly 4-letter words. Yeah.
All right, I misspoke. I didn't do my research on that.
VJ won't be outside the top 5. Annie won't be outside the top 5. Alex won't be outside the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Gaudette could be right up there.
Yeah.
Chris Brown and Tiffany.
If Chris Brown's racing, we win. If Chris Brown racing, we go 2-0. Is what happens.
Faye and Casey, we never have to worry about.
Casey just won in Monterey this past weekend. Also.
She did. It really comes down to Rhea. Rhea's like our swing vote here. If Rhea shows up, I think we walk away with it. If she doesn't show up and Chris doesn't race, we might be in a lot of trouble.
I also think the version of Ian Hosick we get is going to factor into this pretty big because he could be another one who could poke holes in everybody else's men.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Love to see Ian.
What version do we get?
Like that.
Yep.
Because I think those carries at the end, he's good at carries. That could be a place where people are going to break and really kind of move in and out. If he can hang in that first 8 miles and he's around, I think he could do pretty well.
He did well in the UK when they had OCR Worlds there, and that was kind of that muddy, sloppier terrain that we're kind of expecting. So,
and I'm interested to see what Gaudette does because we haven't seen him recently like gain some purchase in the race. He started, he made that crazy surge and then suddenly just kind of started moving back a little bit. But we haven't seen him have this style of race where in theory he could be kind of free running for several miles. So I'd like to see what happens when he gets his teeth in it. He's having success. He's up there. If the terrain suits him at all, he could be up helping to push that lead pack. And the longer he gets into it, the more I think we finally see that chances of our Gaudette breakout happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to watch this live.
How's he recovering from COVID, Jack? You were saying you're still pretty beat up. Do we know how he's doing?
That's the only reason I was I couldn't have taken Gaudette anyway. But same with Logan. It's like he just got COVID, and I don't know. It hits everybody differently, but I'm definitely not ready to race right now, and we got it around the same time. So I know Logan said that it's affecting him a little bit. Mark's pretty much recovered from what I've heard. But it's just one of those unknowns. You just really don't know how it's going to affect you in terms of cardio for the race. But Mark's got such a big engine and he's so fast. And he was running great beforehand on some trail races and ultras that he could easily podium.
Yeah, the thing with Mark, like that physically it might take a toll on him, but mentally it won't. He's not thinking it's going to matter.
Yeah.
He's just like, no, I'm better. It's fine.
Dude's tough.
Who is kicking themselves that they're not here? If they watch this
Hawk.
draft.
Hawk call.
Hawk.
A little bit myself, maybe.
Yeah.
Josiah.
Oh, we forgot to take Kirk for the wild card. Shit.
Yeah.
Forgot to take
Josiah.
myself. I got nothing going this weekend.
Yeah,
We'll
man. Get out there.
Can I sub just because I'm playing this game? If I like sub myself in, is there like some rule? Like if one of us chooses last minute, can we be our own wild card pivot?
You'll know before we do.
Yeah.
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 Well, it depends on what waivers. So you guys have the first waiver pick, or how are we doing waivers? Do we always? I always forget. Are we doing
I think
waivers?
you backload it. You just continue the snake. So Bracken and Kirk get the first dibs at the wild card.
Right. So yeah,
Which is
really
powerful. That's
When
we're
you
in the
can jump
driver's
in.
seat from here on out.
Do you want me to pull up like flights from Minneapolis to?
I'm doing it right now on my phone. It's exactly what I'm
Okay.
doing. Continue the conversation.
I think Aaron Newell would do well on this course. I was like,
Yeah.
I think he should have gone, but
He's not going to be in Utah either.
I thought Glenn Race would do well.
He switched him to Deca. So
He had a
It's gonna
good
be good.
Deca entry.
he's in on Deca. All right.
yeah. Kirk, I think you should go. I'm just looking at these flights, but you're going to need to fly on Thursday instead.
Did have a good workout today.
Yeah. It's I'm
Let's see
seeing
what I'm-
flights for
Would
only
you go
877.
6-mile tempo at 5:25 or something?
I was just asleep too. It was nice. I closed in 5:05, and I was like, God,
Oh, I
I
didn't
think
know that.
I think I could just keep rolling if I had to. My last 5K was at like 16:30, but I was being conservative. I took a whole week off. It's my 5th run back from after taking a week off.
And you rolled some quarters afterwards?
Yeah, like 65, 66. I don't got cheap flights pulling up.
No, I was kidding. They're like $1,600.
Yeah, $1,400. No,
Yeah.
not putting myself in.
Yeah.
Don't
So
care.
you could but you could win, and it could pay for itself.
Good, and I could get that paycheck in 2023.
Yeah. So, Jack, we'll see you in Colorado Springs this weekend.
I think so. I'll see you in
Nice.
Colorado Springs this weekend.
Sure.
You
We
doing
don't have
both?
you. No, only the super, I believe. And we're you think it's going to be hard? Like, what kind of elevation can we expect from the super?
Oh, 600,
Depends how they wanna do
700
it.
feet. Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
They
Just
could
wear
find
pants and high
1,600 if
socks.
they want it.
Yeah. It's just such a shame because you have such amazing trails and stuff all around, but the whole thing about venues, you need parking, and they just don't have that, and the ability to tear up some trails.
So what has us knowing this is going to be a muddy, sloppy course? You rarely see that.
Rain
high
for 5-6
altitude.
days in a row.
Oh, but I feel like if that's dry ground, it's going to soak it up like that. Versus like, I mean, do we know how it normally sits? Like what the state of the turf?
These areas with some of this volcanic area, you get like a tropical type vegetation
yeah.
up at 7,000 to 9,000
Oh,
feet.
sweet.
So it's
Awesome.
not like your typical, you'd think tree line at 9 or 10 and there's nothing else. These South American mountains can be pretty lush.
So it could be like a
South
Seattle.
American.
Interesting.
Well, when you start thinking about South America, that's like the stereotypical lush mountains. Well, this is kind of the intermediate spot between South America and North America.
Central America.
So you can get like a little humidity at altitude and some greenage
Yeah.
and okay, cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll look up the humidity now that I think of it.
Little taste of home for any Midwesterners who are heading out that way. East Coasters, huh?
Yeah.
Logan
so right
Broadbent.
now, no, it's 60% humidity, 73, 61, 55. So race day, it's about 60% humidity,
That's
and you're
enough.
gonna have
That's some.
That's a lot.
If you start at like noon, that's when the rain. It's just like your typical mountains where you're gonna have the storms rolling in the early afternoon.
Told ya.
Yeah.
Told ya.
Yeah, that's not Minneapolis in the summer humidity, but it's still humidity.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's gonna be good. How about top 3? Who do you think is actually gonna get picked, are actually going to finish top 3?
I think Atkins wins, or Atkins and Lindsay, but he might not win.
I'm going to go Botris, Mask, VJ.
Nice.
Not
No
necessarily
Atkins?
in that order, but I think this is a running. This is going to be
You got to do it in
trailer
order.
race.
You can't be. Your picks matter in order for this.
Atkins, Woods, VJ. That's what I'm going.
I like Atkins, Mask, and VJ.
Woods would be my one to knock one of those out.
Yeah, I'm going Atkins, Batris, and VJ. It's gonna be a battle for we didn't even mention Rylan right there.
Yeah, he could be right in
Gaudet could easily do. You've got some competitor Angel.
A lot of decent athletes in there.
Rylan has the power to win this. Haven't even given him the what he really deserves as far as credit. I think at this point we know he's coming back from injury, but like Rylan could pull something off. Like he busted out in Utah last year, but I still think there's another level to him we still haven't seen.
He's been 2, 5, and 6. 2, 5, and 6. Those are his 3 national series performances.
Dude,
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the women's side, Lindsay for sure. I think Lindsay and Annie, and then Chris,
Alex,
Rose,
and Alex.
That third, the top 3 is up for grabs.
Rose will be second or third.
Yeah, I think Lindsay, Annie, Alex. That's mine.
I think we're going to see Rhea bust into her first podium in a while because there's no downhills that are going to slow her down the way that some others do, and I think she's going to roll. That's what I think.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty sweet.
She's fit, obviously.
She's like the female Logan, who if the prettiness of your stride added points to your mod, they'd be off the charts. She just looks like a runner.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way she runs.
Impressive.
All right, dudes, we did it. So we'll have a recap next week. I don't know if we can do anything on Saturday. Maybe some can if they're not doing anything. But Jack and I are throwing down. They're not flying it on to Mexico, Jack? Who's going to do the coverage?
They're not doing the coverage for it. It was too expensive to fly the whole team, or I'm guessing. But
so we're gonna have nothing.
I don't know. I know Steve Hammond's down there, and like I bet that they'll honestly have like Spartan Mexico HQ end up doing something.
I have a message on my phone right now that I have to call someone. They're trying to put a coverage together. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I got a voice transcript of a voicemail. You know how that is, but it looks like they're trying to throw coverage together remotely.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
We'll talk after, but yeah.
All right, dudes.
Sounds good. Yancey Camp top 5 prediction contest. I'll have it up tonight. Get your votes in.
Get your mod on.